Yes? Oh, come on, OBS. It always does this to me, okay? There he is, okay. Magic. We got him to appear. Welcome again to Joshin-Strike. We got DPR here. And by magic, I've somehow got him to appear. What have you been up to, dude?
Not too much. Just got done playing a couple of pugs and dominating, so feeling good. How about you?
I'm pretty good. Do you want me to pull up your Faceit history to like check if you've been dominating the pugs?
You can actually. You can go to my most recent match.
Okay. Damn. That's what you call calling the bluff. But anyways, you know, you're now teamless again. How many teams does that make it in the AU region? Because I know you've been on Ozone to Vantage, to Mindfreak, to KZG, to Rooster.
Yeah.
Like, how many different experiences did you have in all those teams that you were in during that time?
Those were a lot of different experiences. Like, first when I started playing on Ozone, I was like complete random player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was just pugging or whatever, and we basically just had a core like from an old team where it was me, Craxy, and Wombat with a couple of other guys just on an open team.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up bringing in Vision. He's on Simplify at the moment, and then we got Ming obviously in as like the veteran kind of player, and he was kind of just teaching us all the game at that point. And I think that team started about maybe early April in 23.
Yep.
And then back then you had the ANZ champs, you had open quals for that.
Yep.
Not how it is now, but yeah. So we played those and we actually qualified for the champs like 2 months into the project, which was pretty good.
Yep.
Like, we were pretty happy with the games we were playing, like scrims wise and officials wise as well. It was going pretty good. But that was basically just like big learning experience for me, and I was swapping around roles a little bit. Initially I was AWPing on that team.
Yep.
And then I kind of told the team that I didn't really want to play anymore. And then they replaced me with Night Raid because I said I wasn't going to play. Yep. And then it was like a couple months later, I'm like, actually, kind of want to play. So I get back on the team as like a rifler, but it was more of an anchor role because Night Raid, obviously AWPer, and he was experienced at the time, so they wanted him to AWP, which was fair enough.
Yep. What like, is it a motivation issue that you don't want to play the game or anything like that, or is it just juggling too many things at once, or?
It was kind of a bit of both. Like, at the time, I was in my first year of uni, so I was kind of still navigating like exams and all that kind of stuff, like balancing that with CS, because we were playing like 5 days a week on that team. So I didn't really have like a crazy amount of time to be studying. But yeah, it was kind of a motivational thing as well, because I feel like the first 3 or 4 months we were playing, it was really good and everyone was like putting in a lot of effort and we're really improving as a team. And then it kind of like the month after we qualified for champs, it kind of felt like everyone kind of took their foot off the gas a bit, and kind of like the effort level wasn't there. It wasn't as high as, at least I felt like I was putting in more effort than everyone else on the team, and I was kind of sick of it, I guess. So I was just like, yeah, I don't really want to play if you guys aren't going to put in the effort. And so, yeah, I ended up just kind of taking a break, I guess.
Yeah. Is it more like just burnout in particular?
Yeah, well, I was playing the game a lot, like at the time I was probably like close to 90 hours in like the past 2 weeks. Plus I was doing uni, plus I was working. So I felt like I was putting in like all of my spare time was basically just Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
And there was other people on the team who had like maybe more time than me that I felt like were not putting in like the effort that I would expect of someone who has that much free time, I guess.
Also, as well, talking about the first team, Vantage, okay, did they start playing Prop Hunt back then as well? Because obviously, I think Hoax told me that they were big fans of Prop Hunt, and they said Omochilla is a great Prop Hunt player, okay?
He was definitely the king of Prop Hunt. I wasn't on the Vantage like side of it for very long, but because we got the org, it was actually kind of funny. It was Craxy's friend that he met on DayZ, I think.
Jeez.
And he knew this guy from DayZ, and the guy was like interested in CS, and Craxy tells him like, oh, you know, like we're playing on this team or whatever, we're in champs, and this guy literally just like goes and makes an org, like just to get into like the CS scene.
What's his name? Is it Cal? Yeah, I'm trying to think of the guy's name again. For some reason, I got Calco in my head, but I don't think it's him. Or is it Hoax?
Oh yeah, the owner is Hoax. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is another guy that is like kind of more behind the scenes. I think his name's Morgan, but
yeah,
he's like yeah.
Because I have talked to him, just forgot his gamer name. Like, forgot his username. But anyways, first of all, like, how did you get into like the ESEA system? Because, you know, a lot of people have commented that it's hard, like, you know, people plug around, but they don't know about the league system, like ESA Open and whatnot. How did you get into it?
I was kind of like that. I was just playing Face It, and I was kind of friends with Craxy at the time, and he basically just like invited me to come play on this team with him, Wombat, and a couple of other guys, and it was just like it was an open team, and they were already like signed up for it and all that, so they just needed a fifth, and I was like, oh okay, yeah, why not? Like I'll just play. And yeah, that was how it started.
So was there like, you know, any sort of nerves or any like concerns going into that, like in particular, like what were your like expectations or like feelings going into it?
Going into the first team, it was like, oh man, I remember we played like the first night of scrims and we got absolutely farmed. I think the first scrim we ever played together, we lost 29-1 to like the old Stirls Angels core of like Obson, Callum Murray, Tyson, Drox. Like, yeah, those guys. We got 29-1 on the first scrim, and I was like, oh shit. Like, because I was just used to playing Face, you know, like I wasn't used to like these people actually like throwing flashbangs and stuff. I was like, whoa, like what's going on here? And I was like, oh damn, okay, like this is like real stuff now. Like, actually gotta start playing the game properly, otherwise we're gonna get destroyed.
I think I'm happy that wasn't either Foggers or Molto, because you'd have never heard the end of it in the fucking chat during the series.
Yeah, Foggers probably be DMing me now if he was the one that did it.
Yeah, when I heard Obson, I'm like, every time I think about 2D or Obson is when he was like getting a cigarette halfway through ANZ champs, and I'm like, bro, you can't do that in your house, bro.
Dude, I remember playing on him. Like, I played on a team with him on Stirls Angels, and like we had the face cams on for champs.
Yep.
And this guy like showed his desk one time, man, and it was just like 15 like empty cans of like beer and Monster and stuff. It was so funny.
Oh, at least the sponsors there, okay? At least the sponsors there. Monster Energy.
Exactly.
So we go through your journey. So you went to Ozone, you did your first scrim. You're like, holy crap! Like, what was the first thing you pracked after your first scrim? Was it like utility, aiming? Like, what did you do after getting slapped around like that?
I think it was mostly just like we kind of just sat down and we had a discussion. Like, guys, we kind of need to play a bit more structured. I think was like that was the answer for us at the time, because everyone was just running around. It was like we were defaulting, but like we didn't know how to default.
You didn't have
like,
a
we
default.
didn't know how to play properly. yeah, exactly. Like everyone's just running around doing whatever they want. No one knows. Like I didn't even know what a demo was back then, so I had no idea what was going on. Craxy didn't know. Like Wombat, no one knew what was going on. And so we're just like, okay, guys, we're gonna like do structured, because at least if you do structured everything, like start to finish, you know what you have to do to win the round. You know, like you can't really. There's no decision making in the round, so it's like hard to screw it up, I guess.
It's not.
Was the theory?
I guess it's like decision making. It's not just that. It's like, you know, if something fails, you know what to do for next time and whatnot as well, and go to the process and really adjust it. Like as long as you got that skeleton there, you can adjust it from there. It's kind of like chess in a way, where like there's one opening, but there's fucking 20 million variations of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, so obviously you did your first scrims. Obviously a lot of structuring and stuff like that. Like, what sort of team building exercises do teams do in scrims and whatnot? Is it like more like hands-on, like go in a server and scrim teams to practice it, or is it like, going into a server and just throwing nades basically?
I think honestly it kind of depends on like the team and the players you have, but personally I feel like doing theory is more effective than just like going into a scrim and just trying to, because you do theory and you just at least have an idea of what you want to do. Whereas if you just jump into a scrim, like no one knows what's really going on anyway, so you might as well not play the scrim.
What sort of thing is it? Theory is like outside the server, or you just in the server talking about it?
It's usually just like in this, like everyone will just be in spectator or whatever, and like IGL will maybe show some strats or something, but it's talking about like certain reactions, like to a piece of utility that might get thrown, or like, you discuss as a team. Like the IGL brings the theory, usually like the idea, but everyone in the team has a chance to like comment on like certain things that they would like to change or like that kind of stuff.
Any sort
I
of
think that's
sorry. Any sort of any sort of software do you guys use, or like any other service like that you use to prep those sort of scenarios, or practice a bit more like on that with the structure?
Yeah, we didn't at the time, but there is like software that people use for theory nowadays. Skybox is the one that comes to mind. As we used that on KZG. It was like crazy OP.
Hashtag ad, by the way, because I got free tier 4. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. What parts of like Skybox do you guys use? Like, do you guys use 2D replayer? Hashtag ad again. 2D replayer. What else do you use? Like, you use the playbook or anything like that, or don't you have that tier in particular? Because I don't know. Because I have the best tier, so it's like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I think we actually did have like the best one because we were paying like a lot for it. I think it was like 200 a month or something we were paying for it.
That's tier 2.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was quite a lot. We mostly just used like the 2D replayer. There was like something that like allowed it recommended strats against certain teams, like based on what they did and stuff, which we didn't use too much of. At least I didn't. Maybe the Estate when he was IGL like did, but mostly just like the 2D replayer. It's just it's so much easier to just fly through like a 2D demo than it is to try and skim through a POV. Unless you're actually like looking for certain angles or something that you want to play like in the POV, then it's just a lot easier to watch the 2D for like the decision making and because you can see what's going on the map, obviously.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it does exist, being like, hey guys, like we were setting up for a default A or whatever take, and you could have pushed a bit forward here or something like that. That's what it addresses, I guess.
Yeah, like it just makes it so much easier for everyone to see what's going on, and it also allows you to record the demo when you're not on your server as well, which is pretty OP. Like you don't have to record your POV and watch that. You can just have it through Skybox and watch the 2D replay. A lot of people were upset about that, like when we were using it, because it would record like all 10 players' positions. So like you can see what strats they're using, even if it's on their server and they kick the GoTV, like you can still see it. I don't know how it works, but you could.
Okay, so can I understand the scrim issue? Yeah, because people don't want scrims recorded.
Yeah, like people were pretty upset about that. There was like multiple teams that blacklisted us from scrims because they didn't want us like recording their scrims and stuff. But I think now everyone kind of like either uses it or like they know about it, so it's not too bad anymore.
Okay. Yep. How did you really deal with that, particularly when you're getting blacklisted of scrims and whatnot? Like, do you try to mend bridges, or what sort of did you even know that was the case?
Yeah, we knew. I mean, it was Mindfreak and Arcade, I think, that did it. That blacklisted us from scrims. So that was Arcade when they had like Super and Versa Foggers on like that roster.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we knew they did it. We just scrimmed other people. Like you just scrim Rooster or I think it was BNK at the time they were called.
Yeah.
Or Housemates, whatever.
One of those iterations.
Yeah.
Yep. So overall, after Vantage, you went to Mindfreak. How different was that, but from Vantage? Because obviously you had, Night Raid, Ming, and then you go to Tux, basically, which is a wealth of knowledge. Like, how was that?
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, to be honest, playing with Tux is so much. Like, I learned a lot about the game playing with him for sure. Just like down to everything, like. I think that was the first time where I really learned like the value of spawns and like because I was AWPing at the time, obviously, and I didn't really know what I was doing that much, but he helped me a lot with like ideas to go for and like spawn like based off spawns and that kind of stuff. And he was just like overall a pretty solid IGL and still is like a good player. Yeah, it was a lot more results driven, I would say, than it was on Vantage.
Yeah.
Like going from like playing with basically my mates, like Ming and Craxy and Vision and then Omicella a little bit after on Vantage.
Yeah.
Like everyone was kind of not okay with losing, but like if we lost, it wasn't the end of the world, like we just get better for the next game. But on Mindfreak, it was a lot more like we need to win kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it because you're moving from like, a team that didn't have much to lose to a team that definitely had something to lose?
I think it was that, and I think it was like Tux's experience as well. Like he obviously he's been around for like 10 plus years. He's played on the best Australian teams like back in like 2016, 17 and all that kind of stuff. So he was a lot more like expecting to win, I guess, than Ming was. As like the captains. So I think like he was drilling everybody, like every kind of like mistake. Like there was no like excuses, I guess. It's like you play the game properly or you don't play the game.
So what happened in the end of Mindfreak in particular? Because was there like another motivational issue, or like because obviously you left the team and went to Stills Angels at that time, right?
No, it was Stills and then Mindfreak. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was yeah.
So what happened with obviously leaving Mindfreak? What happened there?
I got booted.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had Forlex who hurt his hand.
Yep.
And it was like a known issue for like a while. Like before I even joined the team, like they knew he was probably going to stop playing soon because of his hand, which is fair enough.
Yeah, I think.
So we basically he said he was going to play out all the qualifiers, which were in the start of January. We had the major qual, we had IEM Pro League Open qual at the time, and IEM Chengdu at the time as well. So it was like 3 quals back to back to back, and we knew he was going to leave after that block of games was done. And I guess it was just like the performance. I didn't play like particularly insane, especially against Greyhound. Like every time we played Greyhound, I got absolutely farmed, and so I guess my performance from like those games, and there's also like some internal stuff, like when the reasoning that I was given was mostly just like comm issues, which was fair enough. Like to be honest, that was valid.
Have you been working on your comms and whatnot to just be a voice of the team or comming the right information, stuff like that, to keep it concise?
Yeah, I think it's just I have worked on it a lot since then. It's definitely gotten better. It was just at the time they were kind of going through like a rebuild anyway because Forlex was leaving and Danger also was gonna leave to go to Rooster. So I guess it kind of just made sense for them to get Payne because he was like up and coming or like especially like end of 23 everyone was really high on Payne, which is fair enough. Like he was putting up crazy stats on KZG, so I can't really be too mad about it.
And also go back to Stills in particular. What made you join Stills Angels after being against them for so long, basically? Like as in like playing against them?
It was basically like I just got kicked from Vantage, so like I just wanted a team to play on, like because it was mid-season in champs. So I just wanted a team to play out like the season with, I guess, and like maybe put up some numbers so that I would get noticed, which eventually did happen. So that worked out. But it was just because I got booted from Vantage, which was also a valid reason.
I'd like to say the Stills guy who made the team or the team's about. he came up and talked to me during the TGX last year, okay? And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm the guy that Steals Angels is about." I'm like, I had no idea. That was the
Yeah. I never even talked to the guy. Like,
Yep.
I think I added him on Facebook, and I don't think I ever talked to him. But yeah, it was an interesting team.
Yep. So what do you do after Mindfreak in particular? Because obviously you went to another team, and it sounds like you're traveling the world. At this point, you might have all the ECA Premier teams, or sorry,
Yeah.
ECL teams under your belt. But so
Yeah, I'm collecting the Infinity Stones.
exactly, what did you do after that? Like, what did you work on, or did you go straight to a new team?
So Mindfreak, it was kind of rough, like the timing of me getting kicked, because it was straight after all the quals, and it was right as the season was starting.
Uh-huh.
Like for I think it was actually ACL at that point in 24. Yeah, I got kicked start of February, and ACL started at the start of February, so it was really rough. I did put up a LFT post, like trying to find another team, but I got offered to join KZG at the time because Payne obviously left to go to Mindfreak, and like hindsight, probably should have joined.
So you're the one that made Hassie Orp, okay? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, so that was. I didn't join them. I think they were bad at the time. I remember them being like pretty bad. Like we destroyed them when we played them, and I was just like, I guess at this point, like, I kind of had a bit of a bigger ego than I should have, because like I was playing on this Mindfreak team, and I don't think it's like
you were searching for the stars, basically.
Yeah. Like it wasn't unreasonable at the time to say we were the third best team in Australia behind like Greyhound, and I guess you could argue Rooster, even though we did beat them twice. Like in Chengdu, we beat them back-to-back games, which that felt great. But I guess my ego was a little bit inflated, and I thought maybe I'd get something better, which I didn't. So I kind of just took a break from CS from like February till I want to say like June. I didn't even open the game. Like I was just focusing on like studies and like other IRL stuff, and I just came back and I started pugging a little bit, and I was like, oh, okay, like maybe I want to start playing the game again. And my old friend Mingovi was on KZG at the time, and he hit me up and he was like, "Are you looking to play?" It wasn't like his team at the time; it was kind of a state's team. But I talked to a state and I was like, I can come up, because obviously they had Hassie Orping at the time. Which they wasn't ideal. So they made room for me on that team, which was good. Like it was a good team, but it was more of it was like a Vantage type team in the sense that it was more of a, like the boys, like no one didn't really care that much about winning.
Okay.
There was like, it was just, we could have been a really good team, because there was an option on the table to remove Sam and Hassie from the team, and get Drox and Jinx from Vantage at the time.
Yeah, I could. That was gonna be a hard one. Like, I think about it from KCG's perspective, those three have been playing for a very long time. I can imagine. I can imagine they declined it. Yeah.
It was a lot closer than you think.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty much like done deal. Like out the door, pretty much. And then like the night before, like we were gonna like kind of put it in stone, I guess. Like Estate kind of flipped, and he said, "I don't want to get rid of both of them." He wanted to keep one of them. And Ming was not particularly happy at that, because he wanted both. Because I feel like at the time we probably could have gone to Pro League, like, because they had the 3 spots, and that team would have been so good. I feel like with Drox, like, because I was kind of like the superstar player, I guess, on KZG, and I feel like if I had Drox, like, with me on the team, like, would have been crazy, but it didn't end up happening, unfortunately.
Yeah, because I gotta say, like, it's a hard one for Estate in particular. Like, think about Estate's position. Like, that core 3 has been very, very good. Like, Samux and Hassie have been, like Samux in particular works off that team very, very well. Also, by the way, thanks for the raid, Focus. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so, yeah, I've also got to ask Estate this, what was going through his head on that one, because that would have been tough, in my opinion, to like really flip the script on it. So with KCG overall, like, how did you enjoy your time there, particularly? Because obviously you did some miraculous stuff, and I'm going to say I think KCG, I think I said on Twitter at the time, we're very lucky to get you picked up, because I'm surprised that none of the other teams did.
Yeah.
But yeah, how was like the environment KCG? Like how much you improved further? Because obviously you were there for Ming and then after Ming as well before you went over. Like, what was the differences in the two style between Ming and obviously Estate art gelling?
Yeah, so I'll answer the first part first, I guess. Like the environment in that team, like I kind of said before, is kind of like Vantage, where everyone was like good friends. Everybody on the team. We played heaps of games like outside CS together, like just the 5 of us. And as far as like team vibe goes, 10 out of 10. There was never like any beef in the team. No one had problems with each other. Like even in scrims and stuff, like it was just great vibes. Even if we're losing, like it was great. And then as far as like the difference between Ming and Estate, Ming, I feel like he was a lot better at calling like the mid grounds than Estate was, I guess. It was kind of like two different styles of IGLing. Estate were like a lot more structured calling, whereas Ming was a lot heavier on like the defaults and stuff. Which is, in my opinion, I think if you're practicing, it's better to practice defaulting rather than just running set strats. It's like set strats are good and all, and you do need set strats. Like if you're stuck, like a tough place in a game, you really need a round. Like you want to have like that pocket strat that you can rely on to pull out and be reliable.
Yeah. A money strat, as they call it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just don't. I just think overusing like set strats, you become very readable. Is like the only problem. I feel like that's the case with like, I think Art of War is like a really heavy set strat team as well. Like from playing against them and watching them, it's basically bug calling from what I can tell.
Yeah, but you got the Terry and Banana duo, which just strikes horror and demise and despair into teams.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like Terry, very good individual player for sure, and Freeman as well has been playing with them, which is kind of scary, I guess. But I don't know if they're actually gonna let them keep playing, because they have 4 people on their team who I'm pretty sure are not Australian citizens, which I don't think you should be allowed to do based on the rules. But
yeah, it depends. As long as they're perm residents, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't really care too much, because that team, like with my in particular getting people from overseas, like the Drillers reason, like if you want to talk about it a bit, like Drillers were only in there for the major to get stickers and that's it. At least with Art of War, one I forget the name already.
Only
one word, yeah. At least they're trying to make a team out of it. Like they're not they're not doing it to cheat the system, so I don't really mind too much about that. That's what. With Vantage in particular, so obviously Vantage did skirt the rules quite a bit with what they did. I didn't mind too much, because like I was pissed off about it. Like, guys, don't do that again. So I know Vantage is very committed to the scene, so I'm just like, yeah, I know you guys are committed, but don't do that shit again, okay? Because I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
But
like, for sure.
Like I can understand. I can give them a bit of a leeway on that, because they are still at least committed to the scene, and Eddie's very committed and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. So with KCG, you got picked up by Rooster. Was it getting picked up, or did you leave KCG? I don't know.
So I messaged Chell while I was still on KCG, and I just asked him like, would he give me a shot? And he said yes. So I was basically just trialing on Rooster while I was still on KCG. Like I didn't leave without assurance that I was going to be on Rooster. So that was, it was basically just straight from KZG to Rooster. There was no like in between period, I guess.
Yep. So what was different from KZG? So you got from Mindfreak, KZG, Vantage, and out to Rooster. What was the main difference there? Because obviously I think TJP was IGLing at that point. Wasn't Chelios at all?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it wasn't. I didn't play with Shell IGL. It was just TJ.
Yep.
The differences, like, I guess like the playstyle was like a lot different because I mean everyone kind of knows Rooster, big VP fans. Like, basically copy all their stuff, and I feel like VP's playstyle is like kind of unique compared to most other top tier teams.
Yeah.
It's like it was really focused on playing like high percentage CS, where you're trying to just maximize the like chance of you winning the round, or if you can't win the round, you just save.
Yeah.
So that you can like just play like the next round. I feel like that was the like a really big difference coming into Rooster. It was it was a lot more like play the rounds out that you can win, and if like the consensus is that you're not going to win it, then just don't even bother. Just commit to the save so that you can try and win the next round.
Exactly.
It's just kind of like you go.
Yeah, I can't say, I actually interviewed both, I'm not sure, I'm trying to figure who was interviewed, I think ASAP, and I also interviewed Brace as well. Brace loved Heroic, and funnily enough, because they got into a major final together as well. And obviously ASAP loved VP, so I was just like, yeah, actually I can see the VP vibes. And also they do the typical execute in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, they really run the clock down.
Yep. Did you find like any hardship in doing that, like trying to secure a site in 30 seconds? Because obviously they did that a lot against teams in particular.
Yeah, I mean, if you play it properly, like it should be fine. Like if you play it perfectly, then you shouldn't have any problem executing a site with 20 seconds left.
Yep.
Because the idea is that the CTs don't have any util to stop you from going onto the site.
Yep.
But it became a problem when people would give up first kills, or like maybe we would make a call and it wasn't run properly, or like even the CTs just playing greedy with their util. Like maybe they don't smoke something when they probably should. Then it does become problematic going in the last like 20-30 seconds. But generally, it was not a big problem for us.
Yes. Also, I was going to say as well, what was the difference between rifling and AWPing for the team? Because you usually AWP for the team, and this time you were rifling in Rooster. Was there any like key differences that you noticed, from being a rifler or being an AWP or anything like that, like going from that transition?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, AWPing on all my previous teams, I kind of just got to do whatever I wanted, like because I had the AWP, like I just if I want to go peek second mid on Inferno, I'm gonna go peek second mid. But now, like when I was rifling, it's like I'm just a role player, like I'm not that guy on that team. So I'm just there to play a support role, and I'm there to just do what I'm supposed to do. Like I'm not necessarily there to be the star player and win us the game. I'm just there to enable like the Chelios and the ASAP, those guys to win the game.
So did you pack a lot of like, during that time, a lot of util and whatnot, like, flashes, smokes, molotovs and whatnot, or just practicing trading? Like, would you like get into like a retake server or a refrag server with like say ASAP or TJ or Chelios and just trade off them constantly to try and work, to really work with each other?
Not so much that, but definitely the util part. Like, I was making sure that a lot of my util was good, and I feel like I never really had a problem like throwing it or anything in the officials. It was just like a lot of demos as well, because I was obviously new to those bots that I was put into. So especially at the start, it was like kind of rough because I'm playing bots that I've never played before, and I'm trying to play a new, like completely new play style. Like before I was playing, I would kind of just peek people. I'll just swing them because like it's not that consequential. Like if I'm like if we're on Mirage or something and I peek mid and I die, or maybe I get one and I die, it's not the end of the world because they can't plant the bomb in mid. But if I peek tunnels on Dust 2 and I get AWP'd, the round's over. Like, you lose. So, it was a lot of practicing, like, I guess that discipline as well. Like, I had to learn kind of to just play to live a lot more than I used to on KZG. So
play more patient, I suppose, because like seems like you just got all the anchor rolls basically. That's from what I'm hearing.
Oh yeah. I had all the anchor spots.
Okay.
It wasn't like terrible, but yeah.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite anchor spot on which map that you're playing?
Ooh.
You can't take Breed Mirage though. That's already Liaz's. He's already beat you to it, mate.
Probably ramp, to be honest, on Nuke or Anubis B is good as well.
Yeah.
Like B Anubis, you get a lot of action because hard bomb site holds, everyone goes there.
Yeah, everyone. It's kind of like a Thanos thing, you know. You can't get into A. Yeah. Where do you come back to? Back to B.
Yeah, like I thought we played B pretty good, to be honest, between me and Slimy. Like I had pretty good chemistry with Slimy, I'd say.
Yep. Has his computer been fixed yet? That's the main question.
No.
Dude, I got memed so hard. Rooster always meme me so hard, okay? They always keep going, you know, oh yeah, this guy's here. Oh yeah, you know, Chili's just locked up in prison somewhere. I just don't believe anything Rooster tells me now, okay? And they told me that Slimy was in Barley playing, you know, the Fingo. So I'm just like, okay, since you guys fooled me, I'm just going to say his computer's Barley Billy, mate. Like, fuck you all. Okay, I'm spreading the rumors now.
Yeah.
So with Rooster, so they picked up DannyG, and obviously you left the team. Where is your future going now? Like, you know, have you looking at any teams or trying any teams? Are you trying to focus to the support role, or are you going to go back to being an AWP main? Like, where it is from now?
Yeah, actually not 100% sure. Like, I haven't received any, like, you know, good offers, I would say, at the moment, because it's middle of the season again, which is annoying. But it's probably, at this point, I'm probably just gonna wait till next season and like see what happens with like other teams and who moves on from who and that kind of stuff.
Can you like be on as a sub or anything like that, or you're like locked to Rooster at the moment?
No, I'm pretty sure I can still play.
Okay.
I can play for someone else, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I'm pretty sure the rosters aren't locked yet, so. But they would have to list me before the roster locks, which I think is just before playoffs.
Oh, no, not just the ECL. I'm talking about, you know, the other tournaments. Like, if they need a sub or anything like that.
Yeah. I was listed as a sub for KZG for that Mongolia tournament, so.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I was asking. So, like, going to, you know, surely someone would, like, put you as a sub, just in case someone's visa bounces or something like that. Like, you know, even Semper let's just say fucking Keen or Shady's fucking visa bounces, which is unlikely now because Ben's, you know, on it. But, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. Because, I gotta say overall, like, you know, you're probably one of the potential talents. Like, you're probably there with Pain, like, as in, like, one of the potentials where it could go either way. Would you, like, go to more of a support role or something like that to try to be a better support than a better AWP? Or do you think the big green is where you want to be?
I think, like, future-wise, it's probably better to go down the AWPing route because no one in Australia can AWP. So, like, you'll always have if you're a good AWPer, like, you'll always have a team. But I don't know, it's kind of, I feel like playing rifle, it's easier to, like, get onto a team initially because, like, there's obviously more spots, but I feel like playing support, I don't know, like, it would have to be like a team that I have respect for the players on, you know, because, like, I don't want to go play support for like no flame but like underground or something, you know, like where I feel like I'm gonna be the best player on the team. Like, I don't want to be playing anchor roles for that, you know.
So what, you know, you made a comment about, you know, no one in Australia can AWP. So what do you mean in that perspective? Is it more like, you know, being a Monacy or stuff like that in particular? Like, you know, being one of those active players, you got your Monacy, you got your Shiros and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know, like, it's hard to, like, people just can't hit shots, I feel like. I don't know, it sounds really stupid, but it's literally just like gun mechanics. I feel like when you play against AWPers in Australia, like, you can just peek them and they'll just miss.
Yeah, I got it. I got a perfect word for you. Consistency in hitting their shots.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I did point out of Alistair. I'm like, if Alistair improves his accuracy by 10%, there is no problem in FlyQuest.
Yeah.
Like, literally, everyone's trying to, you know, tie themselves in knots about Ali, and I'm just like, if he just hits the shots he needs to hit, all's done. ESL Alliance Challenger. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he was always more of a support opera, I guess, but
Oh yeah, of course.
yeah, like
Like looking at that major. Like, did you take on a support AWP role?
no, I never played support op.
Because
No.
do you like? I gotta say overall, like with the AWPing meta, like what sort of AWPing style is more favored? Is it the support AWP or the really aggro AWP type? Like you got your Keen, you got your Regali, or is it more like the Jame and Fallen type style?
I think it kind of depends on like what your team needs. If you have like a superstar rifler, then you can be a bit more supportive. But having said that, if you're gonna spend $5,000 on a gun, you don't want to just sit there and AFK. Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
no point. You might as well buy a rifle and do that.
Yeah.
So I think it is generally better to be an aggressive AWPer, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the pieces, I think playing support AWP can work as well.
Yeah. So overall as well with the AWP, so obviously you got the if you've got good rifles is great and all. Is the AWP starting to die out as a meta, given the fact that it's not as strong as it used to be, or is that a bit of a myth perpetrated by the filthy riflers who want more rifles?
No, I definitely think it's weaker than it was in Go for
Yeah.
sure. Just with the peeker's advantage, it's like you can just peek like way faster and kill people.
Mm-hmm.
Like in CS:GO, obviously. So I feel like that's definitely one part of it.
Yep.
But I think there's always going to be a place for a good AWPer in this game. Like there is never going to be like you can't convince me that
Mm-hmm.
if someone is good with the AWP that it's better to have 5 rifles than have that guy on the AWP. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
even if he's a good rifler,
Yep.
if he's a good AWPer, the impact that he can have is just through the roof.
Yeah, definitely. Also as well with the AWPing, have you changed your AWP style from Go to CS2? Like to compensate for Pika's advantage?
Um,
Or even change your style where you peak them instead and it's like, oh shit, this motherfucker peaks me.
yeah, I feel like when I do like when I was AWPing on like Mindfreak and KZG, because that was CS2, I walked out a lot more like just dry walking lines
Mm-hmm.
because like example I guess is like A Mirage or something. You just walk out A main. Like if the guy's anywhere on site, you can just kill him with the AWP if he's rifling. Like if he's AWPing CT like ticket, you're probably dead.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always going to be that kind of risk like with the associated with the gun. And
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, if you don't take any risks, like you can't win the game. So at some point you got to do something. And yeah, I think just walking out with that gun in CS2,
Mm-hmm.
it's just easier because they have less time to react to you than they did in Go. So I think it is stronger.
I'll move.
Wait.
Yeah. It's a really bit of a tough one because I know there's a lot more AWPers have been more aggressive. And I've known some AWPers, like the passive AWPers, particularly like Jame and Fallen, have, well, pun on the name, fallen off quite a bit because I think
Fallen off, yeah.
like all the support AWPers, I think none of them made major playoffs. So I think it was it was Fallen, Jame, then Ali with the support AWPers, and all of them never made playoffs in major. Um, it's a kind of interesting argument with like the AWPing role and whatnot. And we've seen a lot of AWPers now just pick up the AK or pick up the M4 instead in a lot of rounds where normally they'll just pick up the big green right away. Like, what would Valve have to do to really just shift the meta back where an AWP is actually needed?
I mean,
Well, not actually needed, but like more, you would go to that more often.
yeah, I mean, if they fix the game and they get rid of the absurd peeker's advantage, then I think it would be fine. But if they can't do that, then I don't know. Like, it's not the AWP's fault. I feel like it's just that rifles are so good that it's kind of pushing the AWP out a little bit. But if you buff the AWP, then everyone's just gonna like cry about it because they'll just be like, "Oh, the gun's OP." It's because there's not much to change about it. I feel like you can maybe change the movement speed when you're scoped, but like other than that, other than the price, like what do you change? It's hard to change a gun like that.
Yeah, you're gonna get a Kenny S situation again, where like Kenny S is just gonna get the AWP nerfed again.
Yeah, exactly.
No, so overall,
I
with LANs, like, have you ever been and competed into a LAN like at this level?
No, I've actually never been to a LAN at all.
Okay, like,
Yeah.
Did any of your teammates talk about like the differences between on server and on LAN, or have you ever like tried to simulate such an environment?
Yeah, people definitely talk about it. I feel like someone who talked about it a lot was definitely ASAP. I guess he
Yep.
plays on 50 ping, so it kind of makes sense.
Yep.
And like a lot of people were saying that having that damage prediction setting on
Yep.
made it feel more like LAN. But then you would also have those same people who would be in your scrim and they'll say, he's dinked, and you'll peek him, you shoot him in the body, and he's not dinked. So it was kind of troll, in my opinion, having that setting on. Even if it made the game feel better, like if you're 1v1 against someone and your
Yep.
teammate tells you he's dinked, and I pull out a pistol when I have a AWP,
Yeah.
and I shoot him in the body, I would be real mad,
Yeah,
if
exactly.
I shoot him in the body and he lives. So
Yeah, exactly. And the cast will be like, "Why did he pull out the pistol?" That's just like someone
yeah,
calmed.
yeah, and I'll look like an idiot. So yeah.
What's your
For sure.
What's your favorite pistol of the Europe? Like if you got spare money, what's your favorite pistol? You 5.7, Tech 9, Deagle?
I mean, the Tech 9 is busted. That gun's so OP. I feel like it has to be that.
I
It
love
used
it.
to be the P250 on
Yep.
like CT side. I think it's P250 because the like running accuracy on the P250 is like way better than the 5.7, even though 5.7 one shot headshot.
Yep.
But yeah, the P250 is like running accuracy and the move speed I think is higher. So
Yep.
I like that.
Oh, I love the Tech 9. Every time I see a Tech 9 comes out in a half bar, I'm like, this is one of
It's
these.
so OP.
This is one of these bullshit rounds that they just get the 2 dink into the fucking A site and it's just over. Like it's just like you sit on the ground and be like, yeah, it's over. Like just save your weapons.
Yeah, like the gun is so broken.
I counted. I think it was FlyQuest v Big, and Big won 4 out of 4 Tech 9 rounds against FlyQuest, and I'm just like, it's that fucking gun. It's that fucking gun.
Yeah, yeah, the gun's broken.
Oh man, they're gonna make a meme. It's that damn smile. And it's like you put a smile on the Tech 9. It's that goddamn smile.
Yeah, just like when they buy that gun, you know it's coming.
Yep. We'll get to the first topic because wish you all the best in the future as well. See if you can get to another team. Might take a while, but you definitely will get onto another team. I'll be a bit shocked if you don't. And you might collect. I'm trying to see which other teams you need to collect. Maybe you need to get to only one word. Just say 80. Go to observing a bit more. Let me up, okay? What else?
Yeah,
What are the other teams? Oh, bad. Oh, you're not gonna. You're not. Oh, you know what? You can distract. You can distract PZ by making him set up TeamSpeak servers for John. Okay, just tell John, hey, get PZ set up TeamSpeak servers for you, and you go in and up. Okay. So you need to get house bets. Okay. We need to get you the rest of the ECL teams. So Underground and JFT. You need to get in those teams as well. Okay.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, if you get into
I'll see what I can do.
If you get onto all ECL teams, that will be not ideal, but don't do that. Okay, just stay on one team. Okay, but if you get them all, it's just a funny pub story or a quiz question to ask at the end of the day.
Yeah. Who's played on the most ECL teams?
Exactly, and who's played on all of the ECL teams? So we'll talk about the first one, which is the MESA Oce Qualifiers, and the only surprise was Rooster not getting in. Okay, that's for me. Okay, because TALON Simplify did, and only one word got in the third spot. I don't think anyone was too surprised about TALON and Simplify getting in. They are just way better, so much better than other teams. Even with Malta and Sterling, they give a wealth of experience, but the 3 players have got in there. You got Netic, who's just absolute a beast. You got Addict, who's just veins of ice. You got Hazo, who's just basically you're not getting into his sight at all. You're not getting anywhere. Jared's going to take at least 2 players out. Sorry, that's Hazo, before you even get anywhere. And then Semper Fi, you just got Keen and Shady, and you got obviously Savage as well. Savage has greatly improved since the start of that team. He's gone above and beyond. And sorry, Vision advanced, but it's probably the weakest link in that team, and that's not weak by much, is Vision. But all those players in that team in Semper 5 elevated so much, and Keen with the fucking wide swing of the AWP, man. That guy is a nightmare, okay? I saw poor Harper, mate. His team, I think it was Kairos, who's pretty decent himself. I've watched him a bit. He thought he had Keen beat at B, man. He's like, he's not going to peek. Keen fucking wide swing takes off his head, and I'm just like, mate, this is nightmare fuel for you, man.
Yeah.
And then only one word. I was gonna say KZG. I was hoping KZG. I was hoping KZG would pull through, but geez, that only one word team just rolled over them. They couldn't really do much. What are your thoughts on how that went?
The KZG game?
No, all of them. All of the
All of it.
all the teams.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like obviously, like the Rooster Vantage thing that was an interesting first game. I think they played at 10:30, if I'm not wrong.
Yep, that's correct.
And obviously, Slimy's on bad PC.
Mm.
But I wasn't like too shocked to see them win. Like based on like scrim results. I mean, it's only scrims, but I have like a bit of insider knowledge on like the scrim results and stuff for that team, and like it was not looking too good for Rooster going into that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's picked up Danny, so like new player and everything. I think he only joined like a week or so before.
Yeah, you also got Swerves and stuff like that for Vantage, where he's slowly building up as well, and it hasn't clicked yet, but it's building there. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, so that was like the big surprise, I guess, and obviously they had to forfeit their game against Mantra. Two of their players couldn't play, so
Jeez.
That was rough for them.
Yeah.
I mean, you would like if you're Rooster, you're probably coming in expecting to just win or like just win out. No, you wouldn't expect to lose to anybody.
Yeah.
I feel like in here. So coming last is not ideal, and also they lose a lot of points because they were the overall 1 seed for this tournament. I'm pretty sure. So losing to Vantage,
they would be. Yep.
Yeah, losing advantage, you lose a lot for, and then even though you forfeit, they made it so you still lose points for forfeiting.
Yeah, we'll discuss that later, but yeah, that's one of their changes for VRS because a lot of teams were avoiding tournaments, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I felt bad for Rooster, like it sucked. But yeah, nice, continue.
I feel like Vantage Talon, it could have been a better game. I feel like maybe I'm a little bit biased towards Vantage because I'm good friends with Mingovi, obviously. But they definitely could have won Nuke. They just kind of like trolled it a lot, like just dying first. I was looking at their first kill difference against Talon. It was like 15-30 or something for the series. So like you lose the first kill 2 out of every 3 rounds. Like it's hard to win.
Yeah.
But they made it pretty competitive, I guess, considering that they were giving up all those first deaths. But I mean, Nedic is just a fucking one-man wrecking machine. Like he's just so good. So it's hard to. When he's playing well, it's like, what do you do? Like he's just shooting me in the head before I can even see him.
Yep. I'll say overall, I was gonna say with Vantage and Talon, I think Vantage made that competitive at least. And, 13-8, 13-10 is pretty decent.
Sure.
When you expect Talon to literally face roll over everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
They give an honorable mention to Mantra though. Mantra actually pulled him to an OT, so yeah.
Yeah, on train, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep.
And then the Vantage, the other thing that was like surprising for me, I guess, was Vantage losing to Viridian's team.
Yep,
I didn't think they would lose. Yeah, I don't know. I was watching the game and they were looking like kind of just lost, like on Inferno especially. Like I didn't watch Dust because I wasn't around, but I watched most of Ancient and all of Inferno, and like they just lost to themselves. Like to be honest, there wasn't anything that only one word were doing like crazy good. It was just Vantage were playing very poorly, and I know that it was frustrating for like me on the team because he actually like individually is playing really good in that game. There's just like not really much more that he could have done, I feel like.
Actually, I guess.
But,
I should mention about KZG, mate. Like KZG almost pulled off an upset against Simplify, and then they lay absolute duck eggs against only one word in the lower bracket final. I felt so bad for Foggers because I was like, oh, how many rounds did they get? Because the game ended really early, and like, oh fuck, they got farmed.
Yeah. The game was over in like an hour and a half for the 2 maps. That's rough. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you watched the KZG Simplify series, but on Anubis, they were, I think it was like 10-9 or 9-9.
Yeah.
KZG was on CT side, and Simplify had like Tech 9 by, and they just like rushed B.
Yeah.
And they went 3 for 1 on like a B rush because a couple of people were looking lost. And they kind of just ran away with the game, like after that. But yeah,
to be fair, at that point, if you're 9-9, on ACT side of Anubis, like you've lost the game. Like those T's are gonna find a way in. Like you have to, you know what I mean? Like you have to hope that they make 4 mistakes in a row, which is fucking unlikely. And like defending on Anubis is just shit.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I honestly don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. Like, it is, the map definitely T-sided, like at a pro, like high level.
Yeah.
But you can win CT rounds, like at this level, if you know what you're doing, because B is usually the problem. But the way to play B, at least in my experience when I was on Rooster, was really not that complicated, like playing the bomb site. And like it kind of does come down to you just like shooting them. Like if you use your utility right, you can put up a pretty good like defense on the site. But
is it like trying to get map control as well? Like, I've seen some teams go out to try to get B main or try to get canals control. So kind of doing that as well, like kind of like Ancient, where you have to get map control to protect sites.
Yeah, I mean, pushing B main is just like OP. Like you just get so much free info, especially because like usually on a default, the T's just have one guy who just sits at the back. And you kind of don't even really need to use much to flush him out. Maybe like one flash to get rid of him. And you kind of just jiggle from like B main and you just wait until they come back to take the space off you. But you don't even like, you don't have to like push, like, depending on T-buy, like if they don't have the best util, you kind of know that they're going to probably try and use a smoke E-box early. And if they actually go into E-box, that's when you have trouble. Like if you let the T's into E-box by like 120, like you're just going to get split and you're going to get cut to pieces. But that's what I was like talking about, using your util right. Like if you're E-box player, generally you'll have like 3 sets because you get AWPA or something to come drop extra util at the start. Either that or you just like play dedicated 3 people on B, so it's easier to hold. But you need one of the two, otherwise it's impossible to hold the bomb site. So if he gets that 3 sets, you just use 2 sets on E-box, like 2 smokes, 2 mollies. That's like basically a minute. Of time, and like by the time they get into E-box, it's like 40 seconds. And you still have a smoke and a molly. So when the site comes, like the hit comes in, you just smoke B main, molly connector, like from behind default, and you have one guy playing with a flash at dark, like he just holds a dark flash. And then if they try and run through the B main smoke, you just flash peek them together and you just try and kill as many of them as you can before they get onto the site.
A B main masterclass, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think it's that hard to play the bomb site. Like, I think you can play it like that every single round with the 3 util sets, and like you'll be pretty alright. Like it's there's just not like a whole lot the T's can do in terms of like forcing your util. It's like they can maybe prog B main with a smoke, but you just need it, like, because you don't need the HEs anyway. Like, so you just break that smoke.
And also, not to mention as well, like, if they try to go to jail or anything like that, you can just punish them for doing so as well.
Yeah, you just shoot them as they walk through it.
Now another thing as well with MESA, because obviously this came up as well, because MESA, they seem to treat the Oceanic scene as like a professional scene, because they had games at like 7:30 a.m. for WA. They started at 10:30, obviously, in the Eastern States. I've got to say, because we've had this conversation, not us two, but I've talked to Ben about this previously, because we had that issue of the PGL Major previously as well. Well, it's a Perfect World Major, my bad. Is this more of a transition of the Australian scene to be more professional, or should it be still treated as like a semi-professional level? Because it's happened twice now where there's been games at like during work hours on weekdays.
Yeah, I think it's just more the TOs don't understand like that the people here aren't paid to play the game. Because like if you had like Wanda or something like adminning the tournament, they would never put games at 10:30 in the morning, like it's just not feasible. I think the fact that they streamed every single game is obviously why they had to put it at 10:30 and stuff. But they didn't even like have a cast or anything. Like, what was the point in streaming the game? It was just like a clean feed that was super laggy, and I don't know. There was like 30 people watching it. Like, I just don't understand why they needed to stream every game.
I think I'm not sure if I guess I could probably give big thanks to Hoax for getting that clean feed up in the first place, because like it was planned to have nobody in the first place as far as I know. As soon as that clean feed came
really?
up, I was happy to see that.
That's sad.
So yeah, I was really pushing it as well because like guys, there'll be like a person to cover it, either Elvish or Two Tap. I think both of them covered it in the end.
Yeah,
because like this is in particular because Ben and I discussed this as well. Ben obviously being the owner of Semper Fi. We discussed like how's the shift like. Obviously, if it was Wanda, it probably would have been weekend, get it all done. I'm thinking from a different POV because we've got about 4 TOs now that came in, which was the EPL, so ESL Pro League. We had Blast Rising, even though it was 5E, and that's a different kettle fish altogether. We've got ESL, and if PGL is going to use MESA doing it as well, is it time for Australians to really potentially look at even shifting to a professional scene, or teams like realizing this in particular, or how are we going to manage this transition? Because that's 4 TOs that have held tournaments in Australia. Well, not in Australia, but for Australia. Now we've got Defrag as well, making it 5.
Yeah. I think, well, obviously, it depends on like the viewership and stuff, like for the feasibility of orgs to actually pay these players.
Yeah.
But like I know, like there are teams obviously in Australia that are paid. I think it's Semper Fi, TALON, FlyQuest if you count them still.
Yeah.
And house bets that are all like salaried.
Oh, house bets salaried. I didn't think house bets were salaried actually.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the amount, like average. I don't want to like leak too much, but the average I think is like 500-ish a week, which is like, can you really live on that at this point in this country? Like, I don't think so. But I mean, I guess maybe you could like do that, and then you could have like a weekend job. Like, obviously, teams don't crack the Friday, Saturday, so maybe you could do like something casual on those 2 days, and you would be like, okay.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Okay, I wouldn't be able to live on that.
Yeah, it's just like it's just not feasible with the amount of like viewers, obviously, to pay people because you need sponsors and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like you watch even like the big time like ECL games, like big names, like if you had a Rooster versus a Mindfreak or something like that, like top teams, I feel like the viewership is probably only peaking at like 4K or something.
Yeah.
For like on the ESL mainstream.
And that's a lot of embeds and stuff like that as well. Like, a lot of embeds going into it with betters and whatnot as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think overall, like, I don't think we can make the transition yet. I think the TO's got to really realize that the Australian CS scene is like it's amateur at best, semi-professional. Oh, sorry, amateur at worst, semi-professional at best, and really need to make it feasible because people work and whatnot. It's like Division 4 football in England. People work; they're not full-time professionals, so it needs to be organised to be on weekends, stuff like that as well. And obviously hook up with Wanda, but I think Wanda's so tied up with employment at this stage that he probably's got like 20 million different admin jobs. And before Wanda's like, fucking give me more work, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, 'cause I feel like overall at the moment, Australia's not ready to shift to professional setting yet. And the way that MESA and 5E did it, I was just like, hey, guys, like, come on. You guys need to pay a bit more attention and care. You've got the links and whatnot, because obviously K from Meta, I probably said his name wrong, but they know like Elvish and stuff like that as well. They could at least, have a chat, be like, hey, MESA want to do this, and like, guys, do it on the weekend, talk to Wanda, don't do it. Even if PGL's dictating to them as well, I can talk to PGL as well and be like, guys, you can't have an OCE on a weekday, it's not happening. Have it on a weekend, it's fine. Yeah, I don't think Australia's really ready for that. But at the same time, I'm very happy a lot of these tournaments are all BO freeze as well. And Australia needs some desperate practice with BO freeze because ECL's BO ones, and you go into a BO free anyway, both in Open and ECL eventually. And like a lot of Australian teams don't have a fucking decent map depth in particular outside of your house bets, Rooster, TALON and Semper Fi and FlyQuest have no decent map depth, and it gets exposed every time because teams in BO3 start losing to Mantra, because I know Mantra, like, they don't have the greatest of aimers, but they have a fucking good map pool.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I call them
when you start.
I call them the gatekeeper for a reason of the ECL.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just quickly touch on that ECL point as well with the beer ones. I actually reached out before the season started to the tournament organizers, to try and get it changed from BO3, like BO1s to BO3s, because you can look at the Europe. They're same thing. They have BO3s, but us and
Asia and North America, only have BO2s.
Yeah. So I was like, guys, can we play BO3s?
Yep.
And they just basically said no, because something about the format of the tournament was already submitted, and they'd already reviewed for the year. So they were basically just like, we're not considering changes until 2026.
Okay.
I was like, wow.
I think they got pinged by potentially VRS, maybe. They have to announce their tournaments.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because
it's just weird because
sorry, continue.
When Valve announced their roadmap for the year, end of 24, going into this year, they basically just said that they don't want to play BO1s anymore. They only want to play BO3s in their big tournaments.
Yep.
So I just don't understand why they wouldn't allow TOs to change their format from BO1s to BO3s, because it's the standard format now, I guess, for Valve. So,
and also PGL, MESA, so many TOs have proven that you can play them all in 2 weeks and have the tournament done and wrapped up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. I'd say overall as well, been really happy with a lot of BO3s. Completely forgot what we were talking about. Slap it back into gear. But no, I think overall the BO3 has been very, very important. I think overall with ECL, I have voiced my opinion a lot of times to do BO3s. I even voiced my opinion, if you want to know, with the EU side, it used to be only 16 teams. I told, I think it was Jacko at the time, to extend it to 32, because I basically said, look at ESA Advanced in Europe, and look how much that is ELO Hell. And you have all these good teams in fucking Advanced, where you have teams getting not even to their playoffs, okay? They don't even get to playoffs. Some even get relegated. They could have won their tournament if BO1s went their direction.
Yeah, for sure.
You had teams let's say for example, you had your Endpoints, your Copenhagen Flames, you had Tricked at one point, Nordavind. You had all these teams. The fact Nordavind, for example, had an undefeated season Advanced is very understated because of how crazy you have to
the competition.
But I do know ESA do take it on board as well, and I did used to play BO3s back in the day, and I don't mind if I have to not cast in particular, even though I'm going more into interviews. If I can't cast a first map because I'm playing BO3s because they move it an hour forward, I don't mind. As long as you're getting BO3s in, because you get into these international tournaments in particular, and you have your HLTV already against you because you're an Australian team. And they're going, oh, why do we give Australian team spots? And it's well, you're not even giving us the BO3s to practice in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% true. You always see these teams from Australia, they'll go overseas to Pro League or something, and they just get destroyed. Because they just don't have the practice, I feel is just, it's not there. And it's easy for these European teams or whatever to, obviously they play full time, and they can just go look on HLTV, what maps do these guys not play? Oh, okay, we'll just pick that. Because obviously they're going to be good at every map because they have the time to put in, whereas Australia, you have more teams that are specialized on one, maybe two maps, where you're really confident, you can play well on. For Rooster, it's Mirage, right? Every time Rooster plays Mirage, it's okay, this is going to be a good game. They beat
Mouse on it.
Right? Yeah, right. Even when I was on the team, we beat Atox on it. It's just always been a good map for that team.
I was actually very, very impressive, beating Atox, because remember, that Atox roster, that entire roster brought Greyhound to its fucking knees.
Yeah.
That exact roster, you look at that exact roster, that was the roster, Shanghai Major, not Shanghai, Copenhagen Major. That was the roster.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a very good team. Like especially MIQ, their Oppa, that guy's crazy.
I'm a big Zesta fan, but MIQ is quite good.
Yeah, Zesta was their anchor player, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh man,
Yeah.
he's just all the anchor players like the least like it's like the most what is it? Not underrated, but like unthankful sort of role. Because you can get like a 2 or 3k and keep the site, and it's just like, yeah, good job. But if you fucking get like one tap down, lose the site, everything's on you. And as Floppy said, if you want to kick a player, kick the anchor, which they kicked Floppy.
Exactly. Yeah. That's kind of funny. Can I just like bring something up as well, a little bit off topic?
Yep.
You were talking about like the ESEA advanced like promotions and relegations.
Yeah.
Like with the talent pool being really deep.
Yeah.
I feel like a problem for Australia is like almost the opposite now with the formula that they're going forward. Like with Open, you don't have enough good teams, and they announced that the way they're going to do ECL next season is 5 teams from VRS, and then 5 directly from Open.
Oh, I think they're doing qualifiers. Let me see. You know what I need? We need to see here from. Oh, they're gonna be 5 from Open.
Yeah, I checked. It's directly from Open based on results from Open playoffs, and I saw that and I was just like, really? So like you're gonna have teams who are quite clearly better than the Open teams getting relegated. Because you think about the top 5 in ECL, it's probably what, like TALON, Rooster, Vantage, Mindfreak, Housebets maybe?
No, you gotta get you gotta have Semper Fi in there as well, because Semper Fi's gonna be his name is VRS.
They're not playing, are they? No, I mean like this season, sorry. Like this season. The teams that are in there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, your Housebets, Vantage and stuff like that, yep.
Yeah, so you'll keep 5 of those.
Yep.
Like you would assume, I guess, from VRS, like they're probably going to be the highest ranked teams.
And then you're going to get like Canada event and like the Beavers team.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have teams like KZG and like those kind of guys who, if you put them in a gauntlet against these teams that are coming up, you'd probably expect them to win. But because of the way that they're going to do the format, they don't even get the chance. So I just don't.
Yeah, because you're going to have like a weaker competition where the 5 Open teams is going to get bounced out, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no point in even showing up. You'll just lose. Like, you just go in there knowing you're probably going to lose. And it's just, like, it kind of...
I was gonna say if Above the Rest still existed, maybe, the rear roster, because they were setting some pretty decent teams. But I gotta say overall, like, I don't see many of the Open teams, like, against the top 5 VRS OCE teams. I don't think they're much chop.
Yeah, there's no chance,
I think overall...
It just demotivates players as well, like, if you're on one of those teams that you lose your spot in ECL because of this stupid system, like, you probably don't really want to play, like, in Open,
I think
like, it's not good.
Yeah, I think overall, I think they might have to lessen the Open spots. I can just cut away 3 Open spots and put 3 extra VRS, and then put 2 Open spots there. OG system, I know. Maybe even 4 maximum. Because, like, at the end of the day, like, with the 8 VRS teams, you're going to get the best. Like, you are going to have competitive matchups. Like, you're going to have less shitty matchups because, like, I think someone put it best with Intermediate. I think it was Hoax was vouching for Intermediate. That there's really, like, only 10 to 16 teams that could be enough chop for lower ECL, and the rest of them are just playing socially.
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% true. Like, I don't even have a problem with the current system, like, playing relegations. Like, you get the top 2 from, like, the winner of each season goes directly through. Okay, fine. So you get your 2 Open spots.
Yep.
And then the other spots are the relegations. Like, I feel like that's pretty fair.
That'll be 4 spots. Like, I guess I'm not sure how doable that is, but I reckon it is doable because I think the wildcard slot has opened up, but wildcard just kind of ignore it here. But maybe it has to be a shift to that because it's a very good point because I don't think 5 Open teams are going to fare very well, and I think they're just going to get up there and just get bounced out again because their VRS isn't going to go up. I think they're going to get ranked, but it's not going to be very high.
Yeah, you'll just lose every game, so you're just going to keep going down.
Yeah. But let's see if the next conversation about that. Next one is going to be, a bit higher in CS. We're talking about PGL, Cluj-Napoca. Now, I am very because obviously I've been hearing from other podcasts and whatnot. I'm very disappointed in hearing that, you know, there could be some collusion between the tier 1 teams, like the top tier 1 teams, and not attending events.
Yeah,
Because of
sure.
like other, you know, backroom dealings. I'm very disappointed because, first of all, Navi, why I disappointed them. You have Eme, their first Romanian player who won a major, and he's not playing in front of his home fans. Like, you had that entire video of him going to the airport after he won the major, and everyone's being there. And the first time he could go play in Romania, you don't go in there. That's kind of like, what the fuck? Like, that's gonna cause. I reckon that could cause him to fucking leave the team. Like, I wonder if that's gonna do that. But you know, it's a decision for him to really get up to. But
Yeah.
let's talk. Do you want to talk anything about that in particular, or if like the rumors going around that certain teams are not entering because they want to stick with ESL Blast?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends. Like, as a team, you kind of want to keep your VRS. Like, I get the whole, you don't want to play in a stacked tournament because obviously you're gonna probably lose points, right? And obviously you need those points, especially in Europe. Like, it kind of makes a bit more sense because there's so many teams that have a lot of points, so you don't want to lose points going into the major because their major invites are based on the VRS.
Yeah.
Like, completely, yeah. So it kind of makes sense that you don't want to like play some tournaments, but at the same time, it's bad for like obviously the viewership. Like, not, you know, like everyone wants to watch like the Navis and the spirits. Like, no one, like, no offense, but no one comes to watch like Wildcard or like that. You know.
Amaranth Hater spotted. That's why I'm seeing at the moment.
Yeah.
Amaranth Hater mentioned the wild card out. I think overall, like, yeah, I can kind of understand that. There's no draw card. I was really surprised Team Liquid skipped it, given the precarious situation they're fucking in of their with their VRS points. Because I'm like, there's a big prize pool there, and you're hoping that teams in the NA region or South American region don't do so well.
Yeah, because you don't want them to catch up.
Yeah, you don't want them to catch up. There's also another thing as well. Obviously, Imperial Females. Obviously, they participated in the tournament as a replacement for Furia, who also dogged the tournament as well. I'm gonna say I'm not. You know, everyone's like complaining about like VRS and stuff like that about this team. I think it's just a blip. They're not going to get back in tier 1 teams at all. They had a few good maps here and there, but it's kind of like the Australian CS situation where like they don't have a depth of a map pool at all. They're basically Rooster. All they can play is Mirage.
They can only play Mirage. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, like even for example, like I'll actually use that as well because you said EU teams just ban the maps they play. LRBR went off their permaban of Inferno just to ban Mirage. Like,
yeah,
like that's how much of like Imperial Females weren't ready. Like, they're not up there in particular, and I've said this multiple times. They're not tier 1 status. Like, it was kind of a wasted spot. At the same time, it's like, you know, it's a teething issue, it's a transition issue. A lot of people have been going, you know, the typical female tropes and whatever it is about them being either really, really good, the greatest thing since sliced bread, or, you know, they should go back to the kitchen and whatnot. You know, those disgusting things. Like, there was two extremes. There was no in between. And I'm trying to like measure the tightrope, being like, yeah, they're not that, you know, they're not tier 1, but also at the same time, they're not that bad either. And I ended up just having both crowds shouting at me.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on it is, I think it's kind of rough, but I feel like you shouldn't get as many points for playing in like a female-only league, like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like there's a lot, like, I don't know. There's like this HSG female team right now in Asia, and all they play is like Impact, right? Like Blast Impact.
Yep.
And they're above Rooster, Semper Fi, Talon. Like, it's just ridiculous, man. Like, they would get destroyed if they played these teams, you know.
Yep. To be fair, they get screwed over in their own separate way as well with Impact. There's no Asia qualifier anymore. They're a decent-ish team. Yeah. They've taken really I think Imperial to the sword in a few things, even in BO phrase. But I guess overall, they would get beaten by Rooster and stuff like that. I would say. I do agree with that. I've said that as well. Like, there's gonna be no fairness if Impact does give points, like VRS points. There's never gonna be any fairness and integrity. But if Valve has done that deliberately, where you can region lock and gender lock tournaments, And I feel like with the gen blocking of tournaments, I think they're going to find that issue where they may have to split out the circuits. Because the other thing is the competitive integrity. Because obviously, teams can only enter one team. You can't have your female team and your male team both entering because of conflict of interest. And this is where it was never really touched upon, because Feed the Trolls talked about this. And I talked about this to Tech Girl and Vilga. I'm like, Foreign's idea of wanting to have them go into ESL Challenger and ESL Pro League is not going to work, because you've got the competitive integrity rule, where if any of your teams have tried to qualify by either open or closed or anything like that, they can't compete because it's violating that rule.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm a bit concerned about. It's like you're gonna have to get to the position where splitting the circuit is probably going to be the best choice, because that means that the orgs can have a business proposition of getting those teams, because they're not going to lock this team out from a tournament. Like, for example, in the major, FlyQuest Red can't play any NA qualifiers because FlyQuest is playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's get back. You got any more opinions? We should get back on topic, obviously.
No, I think it's pretty much covered it, yeah.
Yep. The other disappointment was FlyQuest. FlyQuest, Jesus Christ, they played one good map and absolute slop the next. I feel like they're missing Alistair, because this is what I said before they replaced him, and T-Time's probably, reveling in FlyQuest failing because he said Ali wasn't a problem. They're getting used to having a support AWPer. Now they're having a power AWPer, and it's a different fucking change.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
Regardless, great.
I want to it's not really his fault.
Yep.
Like, a lot of people will kind of probably point the finger at Dexter as well because of his history. Like, with AWPers, generally speaking, like,
did someone say ACO out loud?
Yeah, like, generally they get better after he like leaves the roster, like after with Torji and stuff. But I mean, you can't just blame one guy for sure.
Yeah, I think Torzi was still really, really good on his rosters. Like, I didn't notice any downside from it. Like, notable downside. Like,
yeah,
like Torzi went up slightly. That's it. Like, Torzi, I think, worked well under Dexter.
Yeah, I think
I can understand your point with everyone else.
Yeah, like, the main problem, like, obviously, like I said, you can't point the finger at one person, but INS this year, like, really not playing up to INS standards, I'd say. Like, obviously, he's still a really great player, but for his standards, like, he even said it in a tweet as well, like, I'm playing so shit or something, like.
Yeah, he had a lot of rough maps. There was one map in particular, Inferno, where he played very well, and it's kind of rough when you just form as just spiky as hell, when you're, like, usually the bedrock of the team in particular.
Yeah, like, he's the guy that's relied on to kind of go that next step to win the game for his team.
Because I gotta say, I don't think he won many clutches either, and that's what he's known for, like, composure in absolute shit-out situations.
Yeah, for sure.
We go through to other teams as well. I was gonna say, I was surprised VP didn't make it the playoffs, but a fucking dead team in Saw did.
Yeah, I mean, they went 0-2, right? They came all the way back, so.
Yep.
I mean, fair play, I guess. They did beat Fly. I mean, it kind of sucks for Fly, I guess. Like, you could argue that they probably just win at least one series if they play Imperial Female, but like, out of the, like, 0-2 teams, I'd say they probably got the worst draw.
Yeah.
Like, you had Saw, Imperial Female, and Complexity, I think.
Yeah, it was Complexity, yeah.
So you probably argue that they did get the worst end of the stick on that one, but I mean, still probably should be beating Saw.
Yep. Oh, definitely should be beating Saw, especially how they played, on their first map. I believe they absolutely stomped them. Freddy Max, that was a fucking meltdown and a half. It was a depressing meltdown as well. They beat VP. They beat MABR. They lose a close BO3 to Eternal Fire, and they lose the fucking Saw 2-0. They just choked these maps away.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, there's a stream called Joshin-Strike, the French stream, and they couldn't believe it. Like, they were just, 3D Max just melted down. Like, they just choked.
Yeah, they got like 10 T rounds on Nuke or something. They were going crazy on Nuke T side, and then they lost. So that was bad.
The playoffs though. Any other, like, teams that you're surprised about either making it or not making it?
No, I'd say, like, I mean, I guess VP, like, is probably, like, the most surprising one. But I mean, you look at the teams they lost to,
Yep.
They lost to 3D Max, which you probably shouldn't lose to them.
Mhm.
But they lost to Pain and Mouse as well.
Yeah.
Like
They're good teams.
Pain's a very, very good team, and so is Mouse. So
And
can't really be like too mad.
yeah, also like I'm a big Flammus enjoyer, and I'm a bit sad that we didn't get to see Flammus in the playoffs. Okay, I just love his positioning. I love his like play heads up player call, especially with the flanks, like the really quick flanks, great instinct. And it's just really good to hear his banter, okay? They're on my fucking balls, mate. He just doesn't, obviously English is a second language. You can just hear it when he's fucking talking.
Yeah. I like the Apex banter as well when he was talking to... I think it was 3D Max, right, when they played.
Yeah, they had so much trash talk, man. I was watching the ESL stuff, and like literally the timestamp for 3D Max and Vitality was like literally 1/3 of the fucking video of them talking trash. Gravity has a fucking mouth, man.
Yeah, he was playing pretty good though, so I guess you can't really blame him.
No, I'm just saying in general, he just has a fucking mouth.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And Apex, you can see Apex in there, like, I want to answer back. And then obviously if it was an OT, he's like, what's that, mate? My mum was on B, mate.
Yeah, everyone is B, and my mum is on B. That was so funny. I watched that video. I couldn't stop laughing.
To be fair, the best trash talk I've seen is from Carrigan, which was like the bombs, like, where are you going? The bombs and fucking banana.
Yeah, I mean those guys are like OG trash talkers, Carrigan and Apex. They've been doing it for like a decade. It's always good to see them get into it with people.
Oh, it's like Carrigan's the best. He's like the composer. Like I call him the composer because he just moves that crowd to his rhythm, man.
Yeah, he definitely does. He gets the crowd into it.
Yep.
A lot of people don't really do that anymore. Like with the trash talking, I feel like it's kind of. I guess it's partly because of like I don't know what, like, I guess you want to call it like woke or whatever, but
Gravity's very young and he's getting into that trash talk. Lake is very young and he's like, look at me, freaking Rickehh, like, stuff like that. I think we got a bit more mongrel and more oomph coming in. Like a lot of younger players are getting into it. Even CXY.
It builds like rivalries and stuff. Like it's really I think it's healthy for like any game, like even in like league and stuff. Like it's good.
Yep, I told Ince in particular, like, if he beats Lake in a 1v1, you stand up at me, look at me, Lake, mate, look at me.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, playoffs.
Yeah.
A's, someone actually finally beat a fucking dead team.
Yeah. They didn't have too much trouble.
Yep. Like I say, I love Rain on that roster. Like every time I see him in fantasy, I just pick Rain. I'm like, he's Mr. Reliable. Okay, always reliable. And then we get into the playoff meltdown team. So we get into Eternal Fire, who can't fucking win a BO3 in the playoffs to save their life, but they won a map.
Yeah.
And then you get the Mongolz. Fucking hell, that was tragic.
Yeah. Their struggles continue for them in the playoffs.
That was such a sad OT. They were up 12-4, I believe, and they lost 16-12 on Inferno, okay?
Yeah, it's not good.
And Mongolz have only won one playoff match, okay? In the last 3 tournaments, and that was against Eternal Fire, another team that fucking chokes in stage matches.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said this at the major, and people were really, really harsh to me because they were like, oh, this is really good for Asia. And I'm like, mate, I think I said season wasted, basically. I'm like, season wasted. You wasted your 3-0 start on just getting bumped out in the first round of the playoffs to Mouse, I think it was. I'm like, you just wasted it. This is even more of a fucking waste, okay? Like, it's fucking Astralis.
They choked that as well, right? The Mouse, I'm pretty sure they're up big in that series and they still lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty.
Mongolz in particular, I'm not sure what the issue is there. Like, the Senzu just sucks, and Senzu should never secondary AWP ever again. In fact, I gotta say, any team with a secondary AWP's gotta stop it, because fuck me, it's more reliability than anything. Like, the only person who's worse than him at AWPing is Cadian as a secondary AWPer. I'm not even kidding. It's just literally on the graph. It's Senzu here and Cadian down here.
There's no point buying 2 AWPs anymore. Like, no one buys 2 AWPs anymore. The last team that honestly that did it a lot was Mindfreak that I can remember.
Yeah,
it's because they had Rickehh on the team.
And they had 2 AWPers, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just not worth because the economy, it's like CT economy is just so bad. It's you just can't justify it, especially because like, where do you even put the second AWP? Like, you go stick him on like B anchor or something on Mirage. It's like chances are he doesn't even see anybody, so you're just wasting the gun. So yeah, I wouldn't do it personally. I don't think it's good.
Talking about Mouse, Broline earning his stripes as an IGL, not entering Mouse, fortunately. Okay, so Jimmy's happy that he's not like his brother, and you know the roster falls to shit after they kick RXCB.
Yeah.
They played really against Pain. Pain, I gotta say, geez, they really live up to the name, don't they? 2 13-11s. Fuck, that's like disappointment street.
Yeah. They are a really good team though, so I'll give them that.
I think it's a joke. I think it's with Exit or Big Zera that I think it's Exit actually for MBR. He's not the best RGL in the city because Fallen also comes from the same city.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to be better IGL than that guy with all that he's accomplished.
But also another thing we gotta say is that the favorites didn't win the tournament. I mean, even FaZe lost to fucking Falcons. Like the favorites going into this were Mongolz and FaZe, and both those teams got knocked out. But to be fair with FaZe, Falcons played extremely well, and I think the Falcons scout after 5 iterations of that team had finally found a team that works.
Finally figured it out.
Yeah, you know, I treat teams like, you know, a House. Have you ever seen the House episode where they're on the plane and House is trying to recruit a team on the plane? And he's like, you know, it's like, you do this, you do that, you know. That's literally Falcons, okay? You gotta be like, you know, you gotta get an IGL, you gotta get a kid that can shoot things, and you gotta get a decent-ish AWPer, okay? And some guy that speaks like an Australian. That's it.
Yeah.
So you got your Tezers, you got your Dexter, you got your Nico probably speaks like an Australian, and then you got your IGL and Kixon, okay?
I could see Nico looking like Chase from that show.
Yeah. You know, that's all they needed. And I'm going to say, like, that team, they finally scouted a good team after so many times of being like, Magix is going to be our star player. And I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. Bro, Magix was a star player probably 4 years ago.
Yeah, when he was on Dignitas, maybe.
Yeah, no, that's a bit too early. Prime Australis matches.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I mean,
But yeah, they got, I think...
I guess they go as far as Nico takes them, I feel like, on this team. Like,
well, like they've got Tezes and Kixon who are very good on Heroic. Like Kixon's a very out of the box. He's probably Karrakin-esque in his IGL.
Yeah. I can see that, yeah.
Like he's very, very good. He's very, you know, heads up as well. Like, you know, he can switch to plays. He, as an NFL team, they will audible it. Like, you know, if he reads something that's not right, they'll change the play and switch it up. Like, he's very good at mid-round. Also helps that they have Nico as well, because Nico was really good at G2 of mid-rounding as well. And they just trampled over FaZe, which would have pissed off Karrakin and Rain to no end. And yeah, I gotta say, you know, Falkers are beginning to look like a good team. I know a lot of hate watchers would have not liked that, given that Falcons and Astralis got very far. But I reckon this Falcons team, they're becoming more respectable now. It's not like, you know, obviously it's a Man City sort of thing where they just buy all the players out to take over the league. But they're actually building a good team now instead of buying a team of stars. They're like, hey guys, we can't do this shit anymore. Let's just buy a core and then build around it. In my opinion, Magisk is the best at the veteran role, okay? And that's where they put him in, and that's why they're going so well, because he's the veteran of the team now, rather than being the star player.
Yeah. No, it's 100%.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And then you got Mouse v Astralis, and hate watchers were happy with this, okay, that Mouse won. Especially on Ancient. Yeah. They clobbered them so hard.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't watch, like, all these games, but...
Oh, dude, it's because it's, like, at 2 a.m. in the fucking morning.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised that Mouse won.
What do you think about the third place decider?
I mean, it makes sense, I guess, because of like the point distribution based on the prize money with VRS. And I mean, personally, like, I'm never gonna say no to watching another game of Counter-Strike, so I'm all for it. I mean, they just go 28-24 on Mirage, so like that is a crazy. Like, you can tell that they both really did want to win this game, and it wasn't just like a consolation prize. It was like they're actually trying to win it. So
we've also got a really good third place decider because they're both gritty teams. Like Astralis and FaZe just don't give up. Like, they really don't give up. Like, I just remember FaZe in that major where they had to qualify in the last chance bracket. They played so many BO3s and they were somehow just getting results. And you put them in a team like Australis where Cadian's not going to give up either. Fuck, you get some bang of the games, okay? It's like, it's not like a Nit v Amcal, you know, fucking slugfest. It's like the best teams going at it. And
yeah, definitely.
Just loved it. Even though FaZe lost in the end, like, you know, Australis, that OT, they were deserved winners. It did remind me of M80 v Fnatic. Like, they, even though it was a few lot less mistakes, it was just like really fucking incredible, really end-to-end sort of stuff. Any team could have really won it. And that was probably a good taster coming up to the grand final in particular.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is, like, I think it's good. I would like to see more, like, tournaments and stuff do it, because, I mean, it's not like kind of you lose and then you just go home. Like, if you lose the semi-finals, you know, it's kind of like a pseudo lower bracket where you can still, like, play for something, even if you don't win all, like, the whole tournament. But
now,
I think it's good.
Now for the last part, Mouse win an entire tournament. I'm going to say the scared stage fright rats have done it. Okay.
Yeah, you got through. It's
do you think this is reflective of Shui's IGL ship, or is it just like, guys, come on, it's, you know, they should have won this even with Broline IGLing?
No, I think it's more they should have won even with Broline IGLing. I feel like Shui is a better IGL. Like, I don't think anyone can doubt that. I also think it's kind of just like a reflection of like the weaker like opponents that they played as well. Like, there's no Na'Vi, there's no Spirit. Like, you know, like these teams that would normally just run you over, like they're not here. Like when you're going into the bracket, I guess, like as one of the favorites, as Mouse, like yeah, no, you're not really ever going to be the favorite when you have like a Na'Vi Spirit. So I think if they can keep playing well, then that's good. But I feel like it's kind of the same for Falcons, where like they beat Eternal Fire, like notorious kind of stage chokers. They did beat FaZe, which is good. But then they lose to Mouse. If they can keep playing well, then I think it'll be good. But I hope it's not just like they got to the grand final because the top teams weren't there. You know, I
think Mouse did very well this tournament as well. Like, a lot of new IGLs have troubles closing out games, and Mouse had no trouble closing out 2 games to get that second and third map. Now, funny enough for Mouse, they lost their map pick. They won both of Falcon's map picks in their last one for the third map, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess they've always been a pretty good Dust team, I think. So I'm not surprised that they won that. I mean, getting destroyed on Mirage, like on your own pick, is a bit yikes. But, I mean, Nuke was 13-11 and you start on CT, so you know, I kind of could see that.
I was going to say, overall, going into ESL Pro League, like, you know, I think a lot of these results for Falcons and Mouse are very, very encouraging, especially against your Spirit and Na'Vi, because they could be, obviously, Ringgrass in particular, because they haven't played too much too often. But also, the other side of the coin is that Falcons and Mouse could be a bit burnt out from playing a lot of CS in the last few months. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, when you're traveling, like, constantly, like, they finished that tournament, yesterday or 2 days ago?
No, it was actually 4 days ago.
24. Okay, so it was a little bit longer, but they have to go. I guess they don't fly too far in Europe, which is good. But if it was like a Asia tournament and you have to fly halfway across the world, you know, jet lag, all that kind of stuff, it kind of affects you a lot. So it definitely could be that they're burnt out, but I feel like they'll be okay because they're not traveling particularly far.
Also, I want to mention as well, the crowd was really fucking crazy at Cluj-Napoca as well. Stunner made a few cracks at the Australians, saying that you can't get a packed crowd better than this either. So if Stunner's hosting, by the way, Stunner, you're probably gonna get drenched in fucking beer for saying shit like that. You're gonna have like people just throwing beer at you. So I hope your dry cleaner's very good. But either way, like, apparently the crowd was absolutely crazy, and this is why I mentioned the EMS stuff earlier. I'm just like, can you imagine if Na'Vi were there? Fucking, they would be so fucking loud. Because I don't think Gamer Legion were there, and I'm not sure why maybe they didn't get the VRS invite. or they
Yeah.
declined it as well, because obviously, oh no, there's no Romanians on Game of Legend anymore. I forgot about that. They benched Volt. I'm trying to think. Well, there was Rickehh obviously as well, but he never made it to the arena. Wasn't likely to.
He didn't make it. Yeah. No.
But yeah, apparently the crowd was electric, even for the teams that they had there. And I think basically, Bucharest could be even crazier because obviously Cluj-Napoca is not a big city, but Bucharest, the fucking capital city, is going to go nuts.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
100%. It would have been nice to have like him there, like only major winner. I'm pretty sure that was Romanian. So.
Yep. Because they used to be Zelo used to be the best player in Romania because he almost got a deal with Hellraisers back in the day. And he declined it to stick with Nexus because I've casted all these teams and talked to all these Romanian fans and whatnot when I was casting them. And fucking hell, I remember when Nexus made ESA Premier again after being, I think it was like 3 seasons in advanced. And fuck me, like they were versing Unicorns of Love. It was 1-1. Nexus going to the third match, which is Nuke, which they always ban, but it got let through. And they won Nuke 13-6 to get promoted. It was just insanity because everyone was like, going, oh, I think it was Nexus were up 8-4. Oh, no, it was 16 rounds back in the day, sorry. They were up like 14-7. And everyone's like, no, calm down. Nexus aren't good on this because it's their T side.
Yeah.
And they were just crazy when they did win. And then I remember when he got picked up by Game at Legion as well. That was a big fucking thing at the time because they were worried about, like, I'm sure he was talking to a lot of his teammates about this, and especially Zelo, because Zelo had the same situation. But yeah, probably happy took that Game at Legion spot, and obviously now to Na'Vi.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, usually that Game at Legion roster back then, they had Mezzy, who's now with Vitality, they had Ema, who's now with Na'Vi. Like, you guys realize how many players in that team got picked for parts.
Yeah, they're now on top teams, for sure.
Also, as well, I'm surprised Mezzy wasn't picked up sooner because Mezzy was just farming fucking ESA per map. He was like getting like 25 to 30 kills per map.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Yep.
I love watching him play like anchor spots.
I love the skit ESL did with him and the fucking eating beans and toast. His comment about, oh no, not the beans, was like the perfect fucking British accent.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get...
he's like... you get,
next topic. Next topic, yep. VRS, they changed this, and I've got to say, fuck me, this is like plugging holes in a ship, okay? Like, you plug one hole and two more spawn up, okay? So what do you want to summarize it, or should I summarize it?
No, you can.
Okay, so what they've done is that they've done the Game of Legion rule, which is that points only update when a tournament's finished. The next one is they've done the Imperial Female rule, which is if you forfeit a tournament, it counts against your VRS. So if you withdraw after it's set, you lose VRS points. So those are the two rules, so people can't protect the VRS points any sort of way. So it's either you do it or you don't. And this has caused a lot of issues for mainly the first one. Because leagues are considered tournaments, but they don't finish till later, so a lot of NA teams are missing out on VRS invites because their VRS points don't count yet. Also, the other one as well, I forgot about this. They've changed a few wildcard stuff, and they've defined the qualifiers and main stage as different. Like, everything that adds rosters to a tournament is a qualifier. Anything that doesn't add rosters to a tournament is main stage. So, for example, ESL Pro League, the initial part of the league where the play-in teams come in, that's a qualifier. Anything where the playoffs happen, like after the play-in teams are inserted, that's the main event now. There's no closed qualifier. So everything is basically qualifier until no teams are added, basically. There's really been no issues with the forfeit one and that one in particular, because those were just really locking down loopholes that teams were using, like, that could abuse in the future. Imperial Females were trying to do it, which didn't work in the end, and I was really disappointed they did do that, in fact. But yeah, overall, the first one is the biggest issue, and I think this one could be an easy fix. I think Valve will probably fix in the next set of changes. They'll be like, any tournament that lasts over 2 weeks is exempt from this rule, something like that, or 3 weeks is exempt for that rule. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that. Or if it's a league sort of tournament, or just spread out the definitions, because this one, like, I'm going to say a rule. People say Valve don't care, or Valve are being stupid. Like, dude, they're making these switches on the go. Sometimes you make a change and it's not too much foresight into it and you mess it up. It'll be probably next VRS update. They probably would have changed it, I reckon.
Yeah.
And I reckon they'll split out leagues. I reckon 4 weeks should be enough for a tournament. I feel. So there should be like any tournament longer than 4 weeks or qualified tournament longer than 4 weeks. You now get your points as each match plays. Tournaments less than 4 weeks, you get it after the event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best sort of way. Valve do whatever Valve want to in particular. What's your point of view on this one?
Yeah, I think it is kind of rough for Australia as well because, like our main tournament, I guess, that runs here is obviously ECL, which is a league. So all these teams aren't getting points, like for the games that they're winning.
Yeah.
And I think one problem that kind of presents is you can have certain teams who are a lot better than their points indicate because they just don't have the opportunity to play anything. Like my example would be just straight up Vantage. They're way better than like all of the teams above them. Like they're better than DXA, KZG. I mean, obviously Arcade and DXA are dead teams, but Vantage, like they're better than KZG. They're better than House Bets. I would still say they're better than only one word.
I'd raise you further. Semper Fi, mate. Semper Fi below KCG and Arcade.
Yeah, it's just like it just doesn't make sense. Like because then they don't they gate kept from invites that they should get. Like
for about 6 months or so.
Yeah, like that ACL tournament. Obviously, the invites have already gone out for that. But if you had it where all of those games counted for the points and the invites went out based on the March rankings instead of the February rankings, you would have like Vantage would be there, because they would have won like all of these games, so they'd be high enough to get an invite to that. Which is, I just think it's problematic when you're like the entire like economy of your VRS points in the region is basically just pulled into one league.
And it's also 6-month lag as well, where where the actual good teams that are playing well don't get their ranking points until the grand final's done.
Yeah, it's like you could miss out on half of the year just because of this stupid system. But I mean, I really do hope they change it so that like maybe they change it to where after like a month or something, like a month after the match is played, like regardless of whether it's a league or a tournament or whatever, like you just a month after the date you get the points for it. I think that would be like something that they could add, and it would probably work.
Do you think like VRS is like fundamentally broken? Like a lot of people be like, it's a terrible, horrible system, or it's a terribly broken system and stuff like that. I don't buy that. I reckon VRS is a very, very good system. It has teething issues, and it's kind of like, I'll put it this way: if you've ever watched Joshin-Strike, he talks about MMOs, and everyone expects an MMO to have like 20 million content patches and whatnot to be perfect in the world, but that's never going to happen. It's going to be like an MMO that slowly builds itself out. That's the example I use. It's this MMO that's going to slowly build itself up to be a really good thing. And all it needs is just little changes here and there. And it fixes a lot of the issues that people had issues with, the ESO rankings, HLTV rankings, dickheads rankings, or whatever it is, okay? That it just puts rankings in one area, everyone knows the formula, everyone knows what's good, everything knows what's bad, even though HLTV do pseudo run it. Like as in being the main source of it. It's just one ranking that no one can humanly control. No one can be like, oh, these guys are shitters. This team's better. Invite them, or show favoritism. I reckon it's actually a very, very good individual ranking system. It does have its flaws in somewhat, with obviously the gender lock tournaments in particular, which I do have an issue with, because of course what's going to happen is the conflict of interest, as I discussed earlier, is going to just sideline female teams more and more, where they can't play in these topper matchups and get better because the conflict of interest pulls them out. And it's not like we can get rid of that, because there's a good reason why it's there, because everyone and their fucking doggers are going to have like 20 teams.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's broken. I think it's actually an incredibly good system and can definitely be improved upon.
Yeah. I think the idea behind it is like good. I think it's good to have just a centralized ranking system for like the game. Obviously, like you can always find the rankings if you really want to go through Valve's GitHub thing or whatever that they posted on.
Also, what do you think about the criticism of GitHub, okay? Because some, like, oh, they post on something like GitHub, which is a whole bunch of nerds and whatnot, and I'm sitting there going, like, you've never surfed GitHub ever in your life, have you?
Yeah, like, I don't even really, like, know what it is. I think I used it once, and I was like, okay, well, this is something, like, I just wanted to check the rankings, and I was like, okay, like, that's the rankings for the month, and I didn't ever use it again, but, I mean, it's not bad, I don't think, like.
So basically what it is, it's an open source website for, like, open source software coding, like, open source. So that's why it's there, so it's open source, basically.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Everyone thinks it's really, obviously, tacky, because there's Fallout mods and stuff like that on there and whatnot. There's even the OBS mod that I have I multi-stream to different platforms on there, which I use, this is actually the funniest part. It's done by a Japanese VTuber, okay, who made the add-on. Like, it's like a strange world.
Yeah, right. That's interesting.
So, yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I actually think it's good that it's, like, publicly, like, available for, like, HLTV or whatever, like, use the formula so that they can see it and stuff. I think it's good.
Yep.
I just think they need to obviously fix, like, some of the things, like, inner workings of it. Like,
yeah, there's...
I don't know, there's things on here that are, like, I don't understand. Like, there's this Starboys team I was looking at earlier today on the Asia rankings, and they're above, like, Rooster, Simplify, all the Australian teams, TALON, and I checked their matches, and they play one HLTV game every month, and they're higher than Australian teams that play, like, 20, 30 maps a month. Like, I just don't understand.
Who do they play?
It's like they beat God's Reign once, and they lose every other game, and they beat God's Reign once, and they get 600 points, which is just, like, it's more than basically every Australian team. So I don't understand how that works, but I don't know if that's just like a bug or something. But
yeah, that sounds a bit weird, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. They play the same tournament for $1,000 prize pool, Dust to India 1xbet. And,
I know which tournament. Yeah. Also, as well. Yeah. Continue.
I just don't. Yeah, I was just gonna say I just don't understand how that could possibly be fair.
Also, as well, I forgot to mention the other change. With America and Asia, you can split your invites into sub-regions. Like, you can have an Oceania invite, East Asia invite, and whatnot as well. And also South American and North America invites. I reckon it's a good change overall. Good foresight from Valve as well, to make sure that, if a tournament's held in NA, that you can split your invites to South American and NA teams and whatnot. And they're going to say same with Australia as well. In fact, Australia benefited a lot from the MESA Asian Masters getting free land slots when really they shouldn't get free land slots. They should only get 2.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how they pulled that off, but that's good.
Yep, I'd say they should only really get 2, and that should be Simplify and TALON. I don't think anyone else should get spots, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I guess I don't know if you've, like, looked at how they were going to run, like, the major.
Oh, I get. Looking at the things as well, I guess it's all right because you got Chinggis, Aotox for Atom, and Dog Evil, which is obviously the 4 teams you would invite. But yeah, you get what I mean. I don't think Oceanic should have 3 spots.
No, they definitely don't deserve 3. I was surprised that, like, China or, like, Mongolia even didn't get more. But like, the way that they're going to run, like, the major, at least from my understanding, is for the Asia spots, because you get, I think it's 4 direct invites to the major.
Yep.
And those come from, like, playing in your sub-region. And the way that so you divvy up the spots based on, so you get, like, 4 or whatever, and then based on whoever is second in Asia, because the top team gets invited directly to
the final stage,
the final stage, So whoever is second, that team, whatever sub-region they're from, gets like the extra spot. So you get 2 spots for that sub-region. So FlyQuest stays second because I'm pretty sure Liquid count as America.
Yep, they're Asia team, but they should count as an American team. Yep.
Yeah. So if they can stay above Atox, they will get like OS will get 2 like spots for the major, and they only have to play an OS bracket. Like you don't have to play any other Asian teams for these spots.
Okay.
So that's
yeah,
how
I see what
I
you mean.
understood it. Yeah.
Nexus
So
was.
it would be FlyQuest. Yeah, someone.
This says the Oceania CA qualifier as well. I'm not too sure that's going to run, but yeah, because I've got a lot of qualifiers here in particular. I know there's the Asia Pacific qualifier. I'm not sure if that's the seeded qualifier you're talking about. It could be. Like, it could be the one where, you know, second seed grabs it. Obviously, Mongol's going to get that Asia seed in stage 3 because they earned it easily, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see how these major things plans out and how the entire like last chance qualifiers pan out as well. And I also did see they split it up as well, which was good on Blast because it would have been absolute dog's breakfast trying to get four Asia teams or 4 Asia teams out of that and get them into a LAN. Considering that the Guam servers didn't go so great. So yeah,
for sure. Yeah, that was rough. I mean, we played on like 100 ping, and I think like most of the Asian teams were probably on like 60. So right at like 40 ping disadvantage is not ideal, and especially someone like Shell or like ASAP, they were playing on like 120, 140.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like really rough.
Yeah, and I think overall, like I think everyone just realized at this point you got to split it out for Asia. And also, you can't have 5E trying to run it because 5E is a Chinese TO. They're not going to have servers in Oceania and whatnot. And
yeah, they didn't, which was annoying when we played Semperfi because we could have just played on normal ping.
Yep. And also, like, for example, PGL has Sportal. I think Blast could probably use Challenger mode or something like that now since the Sportal's been bought up by PGL. But we'll see what happens in particular. We'll get to the next topic because the funny part, last time I talked about roster moves, they had Eddie on, and Ince was heavily pressuring him to leak rosters. I already knew.
What's Ince?
Ince was like going, leak it, Eddie, leak it,
okay,
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And in the end, I don't think we leaked anything. I knew of one move that, me and Eddie knew of one move that we didn't want to talk about. I think it was one of the Mindfreak moves. We both knew what was happening. No, it wasn't the Mindfreak because I knew the crunchy to Mindfreak move before it happened. Trying to think of it. I think it was something to do with a Rooster or something like that as well, which I knew was going to happen. Oh no, that's right. Yeah. It was you to Rooster. That's what I knew was happening.
Oh right, yeah.
Okay. And someone, don't worry, it's probably Harumi leaked it. Okay, just blame him.
Okay, will do.
But either way, so so roster moves. So Eddie. So first of all, we have Neo leaving the roster in only one word, and they added Freeman, and this came out of complete left field. And I have been asking Eddie how he got it. Flamboyant did an interview on Defrag, if you guys want to know how he came along. Obviously, Banana and Terry are good friends with Freeman, and Freeman is from Hong Kong. And now they have a free Hong Kong citizen or player team. I'm not sure how that works, so you actually touched on it as well, Is it going to be an Australian team because it's got 3 players from Hong Kong on it? Or is it going to be an Australian team depending on where they're situated? And I don't want to discuss into the intricacies of that. Let's say they're all above board and the 3 Australian players. But this is great. This is a great pickup for only one word because it's another more international experienced player coming in mentoring our region. It's like, Keenan Shady coming over. You could have had MHL and Azza coming over. You have Swerzen coming over from Eternal Fire Academy. I know he's studying here, but I think you got to give who was it, Savage and Vision a lot of credit as well. It's like, hey, Vantage need a player, you can play here.
Yeah.
Definitely. So it's really, really good that we're getting a lot more international players in. Now, obviously, I hate a driller situation where they're just coming here to play an easy qualifier, but I love it when they come into play here because either they're studying here or doing something else. They're still playing CS and really contributing to our region. So really happy we got Freeman. Freeman's obviously played in TALON, a lot of top tier teams. And I think his wealth of experience is going to help out Terry and Banana a lot. And that's really good if they elevate their game to the next level because I think they're the next duo to look out for with Netic and ASAP or Netic and Addict now. But, there's going to be a big duo on the block with Terry and Banana if they still keep playing that as.
Yeah, for sure.
And also,
I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure like I don't know if it's officially listed, but I'm pretty sure Sunshine's is like
Yep.
on the team as well.
Yep, that's
so
right.
I'm pretty sure they have 4 from Hong Kong, which is crazy. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I did ask Wonder about it just because I was curious, like
Mm-hmm.
if there was like a rule or something about it in the rulebook, and he pretty much just told me like contact upper management. He's just like, yeah, let me get my manager. Pretty much is what he said. So
Yeah, it's a very
it's,
unique situation because, like, obviously,
it is, yeah.
it's a lot of Southeast Asia people come in. It's not like Europe where it's like EU, everyone's in Europe, that's it, done. My opinion, I reckon as long as they reside in Australia, I think it's gonna be like a residency rule. Like if you reside in Australia, you play in Australia. That's the sort of thing. And as long as they don't go against the spirit of the rule, because I think Wanda's very good at this. Like if you're going against the spirit of the rule, he's just gonna slap you with the discretionary fuck off.
Yeah. It's just, I guess it opens up like the theoretical question of like, what if a European team wanted to just come over here and say, oh yeah, we live here now, we'll just take the easy major spot.
Well, the hardest part about that is getting your fucking visas to Australia.
Yeah.
Then they gotta get that PR, of course.
That's what people are like concerned about. I feel like with this kind of, because it opens the door for that kind of possibility. It's like, oh, okay, well, they're gonna allow these guys to do it. Why don't we try it?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like,
yeah, so it's going to be citizenship or PR, whatever it is. I would back a PR system. Like if you have permanent residency in a country, you can play in that country's league. If you don't, and you're just getting a visa for work, fuck off. You don't reside there.
Yeah, I think the way it was explained by the TO for MESA was that if it's like based on your lowest ping, so like they allowed these guys to play in the Australian like qualifier, even though they should have realistically played in the Asia qualifier because they all live in Australia. So their lowest ping was to Australian servers.
Yeah.
That was like the explanation that was given by MESA, which makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And also I would say as well, like overall, like probably lead to my POV on that one. I reckon residency is probably the easiest one to just judge people off because permanent residency in Australia is quite hard to get. Same with New Zealand and stuff like that. Yeah. And in Asia in particular, it's very difficult. Like trying to become a citizen of Japan, you can't if you're a foreigner.
Yeah.
Yep, stuff 100%. Like there's stuff like that. I do understand the concerns because obviously you don't want a driller situation. Everyone knows the drillers is fresh, and everyone was preying on their downfall, which happened, which was great. For multiple reasons. One, it was obviously an ego trip by a streamer because his face was the stickers. Jeez, it's a fucking free branding opportunity. Like, and also the way he justified, I was really disgusted by that. I'm like, you're breaking a rule and a spirit of a rule because fuck it, I want to make money. Like, yeah, if we had that fucking attitude and entirety of CS, fuck me, we'd be already run by gambling corporations and stuff like that. Like, we'd be fully run with it.
100%.
And it's a really bad attitude to have because it just kills the ecosystem. Because if you're going to break the rule, everyone else is going to see that. They're going to start breaking rules. And it's just going to become a race to the bottom of a toxic environment where it's just going to end up dying because it cannibalizes itself.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Yep. So, yeah, you kind of got to watch out for those people and just be like, yeah, let's not do that because it's not, it's not fair. It's not cricket, mate. It's not a fair shake of the sauce bottle.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, that's the problem when you start, like, what's like bending the rules, like for certain teams, like maybe it's not like a bad, like, it's not bad at the time, but then you keep doing it and you keep bending the rules and eventually you're just going to break the rules completely and it's just going to be like that drillers situation where it's like a blatant violation of the rules that people get away with. And I feel like that's kind of a bit of a problem in Australia. I don't want to like hate on like the admin stuff, but there is, in my opinion, a lot of preferential treatment given to certain teams when there shouldn't be. Like the one that comes to mind is like the TALON games for ECL. They got all of their games from January rescheduled to a later date because they weren't in the country, which is like, okay, they're not in the country because they're boot camping. So why is it the other team's fault that these guys are getting to practice in Europe, Like,
I guess say overall though, like those ECL games should always be reschedulable, and it shouldn't be this wildcard rule. I've disagreed with that wildcard rule, but I know it's put in there
yeah,
because of ESA TV.
it is there. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's in there for a reason, I guess.
Yeah.
And like I just don't see it. If you want them to be able to reschedule the games, just let them reschedule all the games.
Yep.
I feel like it's just the easiest way to do it.
And also not to mention as well with Talon, like Talon have to play like 6 BO1 series, 4 BO1 series in back-to-back days because I forgot to schedule obviously as a caster. You know, I can understand that, like that sort of favoritism. That can be an issue because obviously bigger team, bigger org and stuff like that. At the end of the day, I'd say like can't really fix that. You know, obviously the bigger like people want to hang with winners, not losers. And I've dealt with this so much. I've been angry at this as well. I've dealt with this so much fucking times in my career as a caster, and I know it's not fair. It feels absolutely fucking awful where you're getting the shit end of the stick because someone's more preferential because they have more followers on Twitter or they have more clout in the community and whatnot. And it's just you just have to grit it and eat it and try to do something else. And it's just like you can definitely feel for a lot of players, especially in the lesser teams as well, where they're told to jump through 20 million fucking hoops, and then you see like another team just talk to an admin 2 sentences and done. You know, everything's done and dusted.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And I can understand the town situation. I thought one situation to bring up was the Vantage stuff. I am very surprised Vantage didn't get discretionaried with what they did their open team, because I would have expected Wanda to discretionary and be like, yeah, I don't care, see you later, next open team come up. To be fair, that already had happened because DXA pulled out, but I don't know, FlyQuest withdrew. So
100%.
Yep.
But that was I don't know. They're well played to them for getting away with it, I suppose.
Yep. But you know, I can understand those situations as well. I think overall, like, it's a tough one to really navigate. And I think ECO overall, I think they will probably get rid of that wildcard system, but they'll probably make sure there's a game always on Wednesday or Tuesday for people to watch in particular, because obviously they're paying casters. I'm not sure how much in particular, because I'm the only one that gives out my fees. So yeah. The other roster move is obviously DannyG coming back to Rooster, and I felt this was the wrong move for Rooster personally. I thought they should have stuck with you. No bias intended. And the main reason for that is, like, you know, if they build you into a support player, or they put Chelios onto a rifle and put you on the AWP, they could really build out this team a lot more. I can understand wanting DannyG back in roster. Is a good rifler, but he hasn't played for 2 years, and that's the real downside of it. And I'm not sure where this Rooster roster is going to go. I think they're going to falter a bit on their good start, 5-1 in the season so far. And I haven't really talked to anyone in Rooster on the reason for it, to be honest. And I don't understand the reason for bringing DannyG back in, to be honest. I would have actually preferred ADK because he was an actual support player.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you the reason that at least I was given. Which it was like partly they wanted to play with Danny again because obviously like they're
good friends
with him and stuff. Yeah. And the other part of the reason was that, like, at least I was given, I don't know if it's like true or not, obviously, but I was told it was like partly a like mentality thing. Like with me, they didn't feel like I was I don't know, like in the right mind space to play well, I think is like what I was told.
Okay.
But I wasn't, like, it wasn't a whole team discussion when I was kicked. It was just Slimy telling me, like, whatever they told him to say, I suppose, is how it works.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Danny's a good player for sure. It's just the only problem is the roles that he played were not the same as what the ones I was playing. Yeah, so it's going to be like a learning curve.
Yeah, because that's why I said I'd rather ADK back, because at least ADK, like, his most of the roles were your roles, basically. And
to
be fair, I think ADK quit. So, dude, he's becoming a counselor, which I've never fucking expected him to be after the amount of trash talk he does.
He's a funny bloke, that's for sure.
But yeah, like, you know, I was a bit surprised by that. Overall, at the end of the day, I was just like, yeah, you know, the DannyG, the friend factor, like, a lot of stuff in life in particular that I've learned, and I've pretty much, like, burnt a lot in like, life in particular, is obviously who you know, kind of thing. and
Yeah, for sure.
I shoot my mouth off too much. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. He's
Yeah.
like not a bad player for sure, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if they wanted to go with him, then they were going to go with him because Joel and ASAP played with him back in the day. So
Yep.
it was just, I guess it was like a little bit annoying that I didn't get any like heads up about it.
Yeah, and it's mid-season as well. Like you've had already another.
Yeah.
You got dumped mid-season last time.
Yeah, the same time of the year, pretty much.
Yep.
It's just it was annoying because there was like another potential like offer on the table. Like I could have been on like another good team, but I knew because they kind of knew Danny wanted to come back because he was playing more, obviously, and he was like playing with other players on the team. So obviously, I knew he wanted to play on Rooster, which was fine.
That is so annoying.
And I did ask. I'll just say, like, I asked point blank to Chelios, and I asked him, like, are you thinking of getting rid of Danny or getting rid of me for Danny? And he just lied to my face and said that they weren't thinking about it, and then it was like, okay, no worries. And then I like declined this other offer that I could have potentially had, and as like a week later, I was off the team, and that offer is no longer available.
That's a bit frustrating.
And that really pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Mid-season.
It's just annoying. There was.
Yep.
Yeah, mid-season there was no conversation about it.
Yep.
And yeah, like I was straight lied to. So that's pretty annoying.
Next one. I probably should have finished off that one actually, because that was a hard one to get over. That is pretty frustrating. Like I say, especially with another off from the table that you could have taken. It's just like
yeah.
Next one we'll talk about is TALON. They bench MHL, and I'm going to say I feel like they're going to bench Azza as well, because they keep playing with their subs. They keep playing with Smolter and Sterling. I'm going to say Sterling's most likely going to be added to the roster. I think Malta's going to be added to the roster, get rid of Azza, put Malta as an IGL, because Malta talks a lot, and Malta's very good at solving problems from what I've been hearing from a lot of people, and he's very, very open and communicative. I wouldn't be surprised if he is back in the IGL, but there's been a lot of people saying that Malta fucking hates CS2, and he's just waiting for someone to replace him, which leads to things that he doesn't want to come back. But I don't know what TALON are doing, because TALON don't talk. Like, they don't have any open comms with anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
I mean,
I think they're gonna pick up Sterling. They could pick up you. You're an AWPer.
Nah.
But
nah, they won't. They'll get Sterling.
Yep. And then they've got what's happening with Azza out of all things?
I don't know. Like I believe he lives in Europe anyway, and I guess that's why he's not playing in Australia. But he is obviously like Australian, so I would assume that he has a place of residence here. So I don't know why he's not playing. The only thing, like, with you talking about maybe getting Sterling and Malta is I haven't seen them scrimming at all. Like, so you would assume that if that's the 5 that they're going to go with, like they would just be scrimming. But I feel like I think it will be Sterling, but I feel like Malta maybe not. Maybe because he doesn't want to play the game, or maybe because they don't want him. But yeah, I think he originally quit. Because he didn't like the game, and also because Vertex went under, so no more paycheck. But
well, of course, because Liam is very good. Malta is very good.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think they'll get Sterling.
Yeah, because I just don't know what's gonna happen to Azza. Like, I feel like, if Azza's not fucking playing, why are you paying him? Like, that's the point.
Yeah, he's just getting paid to sit on the bench, or like not even on the bench, but like
not even playing. And like, you have subs coming in who are getting probably paid a pittance, and they're gonna be like, hey, how come I'm not getting his paycheck and I'm doing all the fucking work?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what he's up to. Like, obviously there's no official statement from them saying that he's like off the team or anything, but I don't know what he could be doing. Like, just not be playing with the team. Like, I'm not sure.
And it's not like he can convert to being coach. Look at DJL. DJL's a high quality coach. Like, you're not going to replace him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't understand the Talon, to be honest. Like, I think the VRS system really did screw them. I think Sean, the Talon CEO, did highlight that frustration that he agreed with Ben that VRS really fucks both of them. Like, that they couldn't get many invites because obviously their VRS was very, very low.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, that's been the struggle thing is like Talon have been very tight-lipped on what they want to do. As you said, I expect Sterling. We both expect Sterling to be that replacement. But yeah, I'm just, looking, is Azza going to be the IGL or someone else going to be the IGL? Who, if not Azza, who are they going to get as an IGL? They're going to bring Rickehh back? I'm not sure. I think Ricky's quit CS altogether. I'm looking at looking at IGLs that you can relatively get who are, got some experience in international. And yeah, I just don't know who they're going to get. Like, do you have one of the players existing being IGL? I know Nedic is probably not there. Nedic is just frag out, that's it, because Nedic doesn't talk too much. Nedic is just like, crosshair, bang. That's why I was thinking Malta, because like Malta would be a very good IGL. I reckon, even though he hates the game, he'd be a very good IGL.
Yeah, I feel like the only, assuming that you just don't count Malta as being on the team, the only person on the team that realistically could do it would be Addict, probably.
Yeah.
I don't think Hazard could do it. Yeah. And I don't think Nedic could do it either, so...
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't have your lurk player as your IGL. It's probably one of the golden rules. But you can have your AWPer as your IGL, but I'm not sure. I think Sterling would.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever really been in that kind of, position before.
Yeah, it's just a very weird sort of area for Talon, because they need a good IGL. They have to have a good IGL, because they're expected, team behind FlyQuest sort of thing.
Yeah, they were meant to be, the next, kind of super team between, you grab the best players from Rooster and Vertex and you just throw them together and see how it goes.
Yeah, that's just... Yeah, I still don't get this project. Semper Fi are built out way better than Talon, even though Talon had a really, really good head start.
Yeah, I feel like you'd argue Talon have the better individuals as well than Semper Fi. At least the Australians.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that was even discussed. No, you mentioned it. That's right. You were the one that mentioned it, that Semper Fi are a better team, but Talon have better individuals. Yeah, and I agree with that. But however, I think in the progress of the two orgs, because they're bitter rivals, kind of like Rooster and Housebeds. Not bitter, but rivals. But Semper Fi seems like they're the ones who are building up the better team, and I reckon they're going to leapfrog Talon eventually, because just Talon don't seem to have a plan in place. While Semper Fi have some sort of plan in place of what they want to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Semper Fi has been overseas obviously a lot. Recently, in Europe and stuff, and I know Talon has as well, but I don't even they don't even play with their full team, so I don't know how they can expect to maintain or improve their form when you're playing with half the team.
Yeah, that's what I mean. For example, Ben made sure that the full team plays. Even though they had to get freaking Shady and Keen to New Zealand and play there, he made sure the full team play together. And I think he even has Keen in his house or something like that as well. He has a few players in his house. He has both. Yeah, that's right. Playing in his house and whatnot. He's making it work. And I think Talon need that attitude as well. We got to make this work. We can't keep doing this. They can't keep doing this for a long time. Anyways, enough about Talon. I think we're going in circles around that discussion. There is one more roster move, and I completely forgot about it. Trying to think of it. Oh, man. Talon benching, man. Dude, I'm going to kick myself for forgetting this roster move. I know it. There's one more, right?
There's Crunchy. But
Crunchy, that's right. Oh, my God. Yeah, I am going to kick myself because I had him on last time. So, Crunchy for Rickehh, okay? So, I did hear that Rickehh wasn't really enjoying it. And I gotta say, this is a no-brainer move from Mindfreak. Get someone of international experience in, even if he's a stopgap. You got so many young players you can pick from, even if Crunchy doesn't work out, that you could pick up and slot in right away for Rickeh's role. Rickehh wasn't a primary AWPer. Rickehh was kind of the veteran of the team. You can overall with Mindfreak, I reckon it's a good decision to bring in Crunchy. Crunchy is definitely a very good international player. He's played with India. He's played all around the fucking world at this stage. He's played in America for Valorant. He's definitely a good pickup. Played very well for Archon as well. With that roster, it was probably one of the star players for it. I definitely have a lot of good words to put in for Crunchy because even though he was trolled as bait F, he's not, a blame F sort of role. He actually does work his kills and works to aim as well. Yeah. He doesn't leave players out to dry. He does trade very well. And overall, I think this is just a good move from Mindfreak. I reckon he's an upgrade on Rickehh in firepower, but definitely not in the brain department. I reckon Rickeh's got more experience and whatnot there. But I think overall, Mindfreak made the right move.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was like really short notice for them, so I think they've done well. Because obviously they had Pro League coming up, and from what I understand, Rickehh left like a week or so before they went to their boot camp, so that's pretty rough.
And
like, yeah.
And it's not like Crunchy doesn't have to like pick up entire team structure and whatnot. He is a very like adaptable player from what I've seen when he was playing with Archon as well. Like very, very adaptable. And obviously if he can go to Valorant and come back to CS2 and still maintain like his aim and whatnot, because I remember when he was playing with that community apartments or whatever what their fucking qualifier team was. He was playing with
Yeah.
He was playing extremely well there. Yeah, just overall, obviously there's not really too much bad about it. I felt Rickehh was like, I was like thinking like, is Rickehh going to retire sooner or later? Because he's been in the scene since the OG Renegades back in the day. Yeah. And a lot of them in particular, like other than JKS, they're gonzo by now, like that old roster. So yeah. I was just wondering when he would like hang up the mouse altogether. So I guess it's come to that time in particular that he has really thought about it. But yeah, like, is Crunchy going to be a long-term part of Mindfreak? What's your thoughts on that? I reckon it really depends on, like, what they want to do with Crunchy in the end. I reckon he should be, but also at the same time, I can understand if they shift away from him and pick up a younger player instead, or whatever.
Yeah. I think just, like, overall, him for Rickehh, like, obviously he shoots better than Rickehh. I never like played with Rickehh, but I would imagine he's probably like a fairly vocal player on the team, like being experienced, obviously. So I feel like he would be a little bit better in terms of like the calling, like, and giving information and that kind of stuff. So I think like firepower wise, I think you're definitely better off. But I just don't know. Like, it's kind of hard to say because I don't know how much Rickehh was like inputting in terms of like calling and that kind of stuff. But I think that it's not like terrible for them, and considering how short notice it was, like also being mid-season, like it's hard to like get the best available player when it's in the middle of the season because people don't really want to be leaving their teams and that kind of stuff. So but it also is like his roles as well. Like it's not like hard to slot into like the roles that Rickehh was playing.
And not to mention as well, like they got a lot of experience in that team already. So you got Tux and Texter. Crunchy's probably peaking at this point, like where he's gonna be at his top. He's gonna be at top level. You also got, I reckon Gump could probably be a good secondary caller as well, because Gump is fucking incredible with some of the bullshit rounds he saves. Like, even though I think it was, who was it? I think it was I forget his name. Someone made the meme. I got his picture of his face, but I can't picture his name because I talked to him a bit as well. It's not Licky. It's it's a guy who always makes teams to get into ECL, but he always gets kicked before he gets into the ECL team. He did Sunday School. I'm trying to think of the Sunday School guys.
Nexus.
No, not him.
It was Versa, I guess, was on there for a bit.
Guag, that's right. Guag was talking about it. Guag memed good saved Gump, okay, as a joke. But that has become like his catch call, man, because he fucking saves rounds. Like I remember when in Nuke, there's a 1v3, Gump had like 40 HP and managed to play with these 3 players like a fiddle for the bomb to blow up and kill 2 of them as well. And I'm just like sitting there like, Gump saves a lot of these BS rounds, and I reckon he could be a good mid-round caller as well, because he's able to like put himself in a position where he can just get that extra bit of percentage of victory on the board as well, and actually win unwinnable rounds.
He was definitely really good towards the end of last year. Like I feel like a I don't know, like this year he's kind of dropped off a bit. I don't know if it's just like maybe he's not been playing during the break or something. I don't know, but I remember watching him at the end of last year and I was like, damn, like this guy's actually like probably the best player on the team.
Could be form issues as well. Like it's just kind of like you just have a slump in form, kind of int situation.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think he's definitely a solid anchor player. But I think going forward, you kind of are hoping that Payne and I guess Texter's always obviously been a very good player. But I guess you kind of want Payne to be the one to step it up a bit going into this year. Like, you know, you've been playing with this guy for about a year now. I think he's been on the roster. Like, you've been playing with Tux, obviously very experienced, and Rickehh as well, probably been helping him out when he was playing. Like, you're probably at this point kind of hoping that he's gonna be like your best player going forward.
Yeah, he needs I guess overall for Payne, you need a pretty decent land performance. He can, like I said, Payne overall, he can be very hit and miss. I'm not sure if that's him being hit or miss, or the other players in the team having more of a spotlight. I think this is Payne's first international LAN as well. It could be his first LAN in general because he wasn't at the Fortress Sydney stuff. He wasn't there. I'm not sure.
It was an ISF, I think.
Oh, he played ICF, yeah. And he played against Metasports, and that game was Mindfreak getting out teamed was evident, and they were playing Nyla and stuff like that. I'm just like sitting there going like, yeah, you guys could get fucking smashed. But I'd say overall, like, Payne just needs to have a decentish LAN. Doesn't have to, you know, get 30 kills every round. He just needs to show he can play on LAN, and I reckon he's just got a spot in that team for a while as long as he keeps that consistency up. I think that's his main downside is that he can be really fucking good. He's got MIBR syndrome. He can be very, very good or very, very shit. There's no in between.
Yeah, I guess he is like a fairly aggressive AWPer, so when it's going good, it's good when he's hitting the shots, but when it's going bad, it looks like he's trolling the games. But
and I think overall, like, sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, with that, like, you kind of just want to be maximizing like your percentages in terms of like, you just want to be hitting more often than you miss. I guess when you're an aggressive player, like, you got to know how to like what angles is good to like peak or. And like even watching demos like of enemy POV, like figuring out habits and stuff is really big with that kind of stuff as well. Because if you know where the guy's going to stand most of the time, you know it's like a good percentage chance that you're just going to kill him.
And there's a thing overall, like, you know, with Payne, like, just decent land performance is fine. You know, you don't expect Mindfreak to get a win. If they win a BO3, like, that's crazy. And especially if Payne puts a good result in that's huge. And I'll give Mindfreak a lot of confidence going into this. But I think overall, we've talked crunchy move, probably easy move. When do you expect to see like any other rosters start moving around their players in particular? Like after major cycle or after ECL cycle? If any.
I feel like most of the moves will just come after like either after the like Bris Vegas LAN or after the end of this ECL season is usually like like when they come. But I feel like majority of teams will not, especially if you're good, right? Like if you're good and you're winning, like why would you change anything like mid-season? It just doesn't make sense to rock the boat. But I feel like the teams that are kind of towards the top, and if they don't win, then there will be changes made, like like a Senpai or maybe a TALON. I guess they're already making moves, but I don't know with the TALON thing. Like, I would hope that they get someone good.
What are your thoughts about like this sort of how everyone, like, you know, demands roster moves after like one bad game? Like, I seriously sit with people and be like, guys, like I've defended Alistair fucking a lot on this, and I'm like, you don't move Ali before the major. You move him after the major, which they did. And I'm just telling people, like, guys, you don't know how to manage a fucking team. Like, you can't boot players out mid fucking season because you got roster locks to deal with. Like, what do you think, like, you know, ideal time to like review your team and a player going forward? Like, you know, what do you think your ideal time is for different tiers? For tier 1, my opinion is after the major. tier 2, where you guys are at, would be after the biggest tournament that you guys would have, which would be ECL. And with tier 3, anytime you fucking want, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I feel like at least like in Australia, you can pretty much make roster moves whenever you want, as long as the rosters aren't locked, obviously, because you just want to get the best player available. Like, I feel like that's generally the theory that most teams run with. Like, if we can get someone better, then we will get someone better. Like, it doesn't really matter, because like most of this scene is just who can aim better than the enemy team. It's not really strat heavy. Like, it's not like Europe tier 2 where you're gonna have these like crazy strats where it's just like triple fake into like some kind of split or something, you know. Like, you know, it's not that much depth in terms of the
strategy,
like strats and stuff. So yeah, it's just basically who can shoot the other people better. And I feel like that's kind of what a lot of, like, you can look back at all the good teams in Australia, like maybe you discount FlyQuest because they're more of like a EU kind of team where they are a bit more strat heavy with their stuff, but all like the Australian like only teams, you know, like the Roosters, the House Bets or Vertex. I mean, like back in the day when they had Addict and Hazard, like all of these teams were basically just predicated on who had like the sharpest individuals and who showed up on the day. Like, it wasn't really who had the best like IGL, because I mean, you think Australia and IGL's like who really pops into your mind? Like no one. Like, Brace, maybe. It's like Brace. That's like it.
They're wiggle wagging himself.
Yeah, like it's just there's no crazy good IGLs, I would say, in this region.
Yeah, definitely.
Like even like the FlyQuest like people when Dexter was in Europe, they had ins IGLing because they just couldn't find anyone else to do the job.
100%. Yeah, because there's no IGLs in Australia. I was gonna say, I felt like looking for org when they existed were very harsh on Rickehh, because I'm just like, bro, that guy volunteered to be IGL. Like, and there's no fucking IGLs. Like, I mean, I really wanted them to stick with them, basically.
It's kind of like T side, like what you're saying with the anchor always gets the blame. If your D side sucks, then it's the IGL that gets the blame.
Yeah. Also, by the way, Cray wants to mention Eddie's an IGL.
Eddie is an IGL. That is true.
Yeah. Yep.
That is true. He does have some good punch strats. I'll give him that.
Yep. He also I guess you could also evolve him to his next form observer role by killing him as well.
Yeah, spectator.
Yeah.
I mean, some people play for that though. Like, some IGLs, they'll just run out and die just so they can spectate people and tell them exactly what to do. Like, that's. I mean, I guess if you don't trust your players.
Meta strats.
Yeah, exactly. Some people plan on dying, but personally, I wouldn't do that.
Yep. But yeah, I do agree. Like, Australia lacks AWPers and lacks IGL, so it seems like everyone wants to be a rifle and just aim for heads, basically. But I think that's all we've got time for, because I think that's all the topics really talked about. Not many roster moves yet. I reckon we'll probably see a lot of roster moves towards the end of the ECL season. 100%. You know, where can people find you in particular? You know, to just be like, hey, I just want to see DPR, I want to see what he's doing, which team is going to go. Where can they find you?
I mean, probably I don't really post much on social media, you know, like I don't stream or anything, so I guess if I'm going to be like joining a team, it'll just be like Twitter, but what's your
Twitter, mate?
DPR underscore AU, yeah.
Yeah, so you go follow him there.
Yeah, that's the place to be.
Yep, he doesn't use social media that much, so only team announcements, mate. So if you see a team announcement, there's going to be like 10 tweets of him joining a team.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. Need DPR stream, says Cray. Will you stream in the future, actually? Or is it just like...
Stream in the future.
Is it just like, nah, I'm not that personable and I just have a deadpan's face 24/7?
That is pretty much me, to be honest. I'm not like a super emotional person, I would say.
Oh, man.
Like, even in CS and stuff, like, I just kind of chill, you know. I don't like crazy tilt or nothing.
Oh, I should have said it, because I used to play with like a lot of content creators in Pokemon Unite, and one of the guys commented on one of my clips, like, Josh, you are the least emotional person from that crazy clutchy pool. So I played. It's one of those bug heroes where they can shield as a sport, and
Yeah.
one of their content creators they got to a smidgen of HP, and I shielded them just before they died. And they just basically said, Josh, you did a clutch move and you showed no fucking expression.
Yeah, just deadpan.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
deadpan.
Magic at the major after he
Yeah.
won, just sat in his chair and just chill.
Yep. Yeah, I guess just gonna say overall, streaming takes a lot of work. I realized because I think I got Oceanic first level 60 in Shadowlands for WoW, and it was by 10 or 15 minutes. And I was looking at the entire run, and I only talked to my chat 3 or 4 times, but I was it's so deadpan throughout the entire run. I was so focused on getting a lot of these tricks right.
Yeah, he just locked in. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even mind trying casting games. I don't know. I feel like that could be interesting.
You definitely could do it.
It's something I wanted to try.
You can always do it. You get open, you cast a few games, and ESL will let you give you application or whatnot. It's particularly easy to do so. Just access wise, I encourage everyone to do it. Even though when some people in chat criticize my cast, if you think you're better, fucking come and do it. Okay, just do it. It sounds 100%. Very aggressive, but I just want them to try. It's a different sort of thing.
100%.
I always encourage people to cast in particular because I remember the old days where it was just me, Josh A, and you get your occasional casters half the time. And then obviously Josh A nuked dropped his infamous nuke. And then it was just me casting all the games. And I'm just fuck. It got to a point, I think a lot of people were understanding my position where, this is an order and there was 4 different orgs. And I'm I have to cast one of those games because obviously if they go, then, less chance of the season renewing.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, it was a very difficult time. So, always encourage everyone to cast. But, yeah, thanks for hopping on. And thanks for giving some insight in particular, especially behind some of the moves and also behind the scene in general, and also discussing all the recent facts and figures as well. Do you think you have any fans? Okay, that's the main thing that you want to say shout out to in particular, or want to shout out any person in particular that's helped you out a lot in your career?
Yeah, shout out Mingovi. That's my guy. Best IGL I ever played with. And Danger. Shout out Danger. That's probably the person that I'm closest with from playing CS. Okay. He was my best friend on Mindfreak, and we're still best friends to this day. So I would say those two, Mingovi and Danger, they're real ones.
Okay. Anyways, guys, we'll be off. Thank you guys for tuning in, and hope you guys have a lovely day. See you guys later. Peace out. Bye.
See ya.